It's about the physicality of my body in relation to how scared I am. So, anyways,
It,
all
both are.
right.
It's very impressive. I've never seen anything more sculpted in my entire life.
Thanks. All right. So, just to catch Tari up, I know Tari that your life partner probably filled you in on everything that happened, but it probably sounded a lot like Toothless and Buddy were the best, and everyone else was there. So to kind of maybe spin it a little bit less biased. The party has returned to Saltmarsh. They went back to the house that crawls, the sea caves. They unloaded their goods. While they were there, perhaps fortunately, perhaps unfortunately, a Johnny Come Lately patrol from the town had been sent by Captain Eleander, which it turns out is a different group of guards than was initially sent, and also a different person ordering them that you guys investigated. So it turns out that the guards that you were investigating the disappearance of and the house and all that, they were on the DL working for Prime Water and Owlland, essentially on their off time. So they were subcontracting
Mhm.
with the town council and the loyalist. So, eventually, word of crazy stuff going on at the house that crawls reached the actual guard captain, who was looking for his missing guards, and he sent a team to go investigate. They ran into you and a couple of your allies. You remained hidden. Illyria and to the two lizard boys kind of put themselves out there. Illyria was able to sort of talk down using her I'm a local ability, talk down the guards. They agreed to go all the way back to town and speak with the guard captain about what had happened. During this time, your character went back and informed everyone back on the ship what had happened. The ship, again, serendipitously, was concealed from the patrol by the dense fog that had
Hmm.
fallen over the
Nice.
area. Yeah. And I know this sounds completely contrived, but there you have a calendar of events for the whole Faerunian campaign year, and it's just things are lining up a certain way. For example, like the Sun Group has never run into the Sea Ghost because they never are at the sea caves when the Sea Ghost is, signaling them. So they've never actually interfaced with that ship. So it's a weird turn of events. Um, Eleander paid the party handsomely for defeating these cultists and basically cleansing a cell of terrorists, as it were, from the house that crawls, and sort of named them heroes and promised to find more work for them and all that jazz. For some reason, the party didn't seem very happy about that. And when they I don't know how to make you happy. And then when when they left, they were like, "Well, that sucks. 150 gold and accolades. This game's the worst." And then they immediately went back. They bought some stuff in town, and then they immediately went back to the house that crawls and reconnected with the rest of the party. Told them what happened, and the rest of the party was like, "Well, if you got paid 150 gold and you're heroes, we got to leave town." So now the
So,
party has decided that they
to
need
be
to
to,
flee.
to be clear, we read the art of the deal, and we're very very good deal makers.
I guess presidentially good.
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
amazing. Sorry to interrupt.
So then the party headed back to Saltmarsh with
Is this my
skeletons.
punishment for missing a session?
Yeah, a lot.
Yeah,
Honestly,
it
a
is.
lot
It
happened.
really is.
So the party headed back to town in the middle of the night as the fog stopped and the heavy rain was about to start. They used that window of opportunity there. They like basically limped into the harbor in the middle of the night. They managed to get the shadiest person running the thing. I believe her name is Kier Westfall.
Oh,
I
it
believe.
was
No, wait, wait,
Brad.
wait. Let me check. I got her name
Brad
here.
Bushy
Hold on.
something.
eyebrows. Yeah.
Yeah. There we go. Okay. Yeah, and basically, yeah,
Mythos Grad.
she hooked she hooked him up real good. Here we go. Dock Mistress. There we go. Nithos Grud. So Nithos Grud hooked them up with the on the DL, and Bodie McBoatface was registered instead of the Sea Ghost, and I believe it was Captain like Bilbo Shaggins or something like
It was
that.
the Smiling Smugglers and Captain Care Bear.
Yes, Smiley
Yeah, that's what
Smugglers
it
and the
was.
Captain Care Bear. So
Smugglers.
then the dwarf boys started work on repairs, and then, in a very exciting twist, the entire crew that had essentially been press ganged into service was allowed shore leave. And they said, if you come back, you have a job. If you don't, you don't. Which was actually pretty cool for morale. So everyone except the dwarves has left. Whether or not they return is unknown. So all that's going down. While that's going down, the party's like, we still got this captain here, Captain Yuanti Bad Bitch. What are we going to do with her? Well, you all, I don't know if you were there for how much of last session you caught, but they had like a Truth or Dare session where they used Zone of Truth and they interviewed her. They found out all sorts of juicy nuggets of information. The name of her brother, where he's operating out of, the fact that like Gellin Prime Water is greedy, I think was one of the things that got dropped. A lot of stuff happened. So then she also spit acid all over them. Or sorry, not acid, but poison all over them. So they had to put like a muzzle on her and stuff. It was awkward. So now they've got her. They brought her into town. She's all trussed up. The dock mistress is like, "Oh, looks like you're having a sexy evening," and didn't say anything about it because she's on the payroll now. And as the party's making their way through the dark, wet, abandoned streets of Saltmarsh in the middle of the night, they have their captive, and they're like, "What do we do with her? Let's turn her in to Grandma, who we think is a lich." And then they're like, "No way! It's too late at night to go to Grandma's house. She lives with her grandkids." So then they're like, "Well, let's turn her into Prime Water." And they're like, "He's a bad guy." So they were like, "Let's have a big argument about this in the middle of the streets." And then they were like, "No, better yet, let's take her back to Illyria's house." And that's where the campaign ended. So now we're going to pick up at Illyria's house in Saltmarsh. And yeah, I hear that kid, and I'm immediately looking around for like the little sister and the
No,
big
that's
daddy.
the lich.
Oh yeah, I'm just saying, like I'm so frightened right now. My adrenaline is so high from too much video games and scary movies. All right,
She's
so
5 years old and possessed.
I love it. I missed a cosplay opportunity with my daughter. She could have been a little sister, and I could have dressed up as a big daddy robot. It would have been amazing. All right, so here we are at Illyria's house with Captain Yuanti Bad Bitch, Sigma Snake Eyes. What is the play here, folks? What is the play? We pick up right where we left off. You have crashed through the front, not crashed through, but you crashed through the front door of her house. You pulled the curtains. You lit a couple of lamps. These people are in your house. Describe Illyria's house to us. What is Illyria's house like?
Lyria's house is very neat and tidy. There's tons of bookshelves filled with basically every beast you could imagine.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a bunch of candles that can be lit, and there's a really nice desk has stacks of books on it and papers and stuff. That's like the only spot that's messy.
So we sacrificed her on the desk, right?
I will kill you.
All right. So,
I will kill you too.
This beautiful, quaint, organized house that you have made a home here in the human settlement of Saltmarsh. You now have a bound and gagged hostage, former pirate captain Yuanti, and your allies. It is the middle of the night. It is starting to rain outside. What are you guys gonna do with her? What's the plan?
I say we hold her overnight, and then we send for Ida and Gellin the next morning. we'll just turn them over to them and then get the heck out of here, so to speak.
Get our papers.
Yeah, let's fulfill the contract and get out of here once the ship is ready to go.
Aren't you on the ship?
No, he came with
Oh,
us.
did he?
I did.
Okay. So who's
Yeah.
with us? We
Yeah,
got
yeah.
Illyria, me.
I'm there.
Okay, so it's just Haxel and
Yeah,
Thogrim that stayed. Okay.
Yeah.
Alright then. That's most of the party. That should be good.
Will it be odd if Gellin and Ida are entering your house, Illyria, in the middle of the day? Shall I run and get one of them now?
Didn't think so.
Now you live,
Alright.
Illyria, you do live like an equidistance, I believe, from the two different houses. Maybe? Let me see. The Owlins are over here at 19. Yeah. And then let's see. Yeah. Over here at 19 is Owlin's place. And over here at 16 is Prime Order's place. So you are an absolute equidistance from the two. And it is like maybe 15 minutes to either place.
It might be good to do it in the middle of the
If
night.
the if the appearance of the homes makes a difference, here's the Owland estate, and here is the Prime Water estate.
Jesus.
We
Miami
haven't
Beach,
seen
you
that
were
one
kidding.
yet.
Yeah, dude, doing all right for himself. So retired adventurers, they do okay. You got to know when to leave. It's like Vegas. You got to know when to stop being an adventurer.
Kind of know when to hold them.
Yeah,
Know when to fold them.
absolutely.
And know when to run away.
Thogrim actually came up with that canon.
You gotta know when to hold them. You gotta know when to bop them on the head.
doesn't rhyme as well, but also good. So Sigma is conscious, and she is looking around with those luminous orange eyes.
She definitely has a bag
just
over her
sort of-
head because of the spit that acid she was doing
Yeah,
earlier.
yeah. Okay. So she's you can see her kind of turning as much of her body as she can, listening, trying to see through the bag, trying to kind of figure out where she is. But you have her, I believe, like full on like Japanese bondage, like ball gagged, and then the sack on top just to make sure there's no poison. Is that my understanding? Because I was told like a lot of rope was used.
Yeah. Well, if we.
That
Okay.
sounds about right.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And you guys are sailors. You good with ropes. So yeah. All right. But yeah, she is conscious, and she just kind of leans back until she is like has it back against the wall.
Okay, so we're good with
Alright.
waiting until tomorrow to do
So-
it, or do you want to run and go get him now? I don't think it really matters either way, unless
Yeah, I don't think it matters.
Same here.
I'm fine to get them now.
Okay. The rain is starting to set in. Those of you with training in survival, with druidcraft, with any of that sort of stuff, you would you know it is going to be heavy. This is going to be the kind of rain that shuts down operations. Just a pounding, just constant rain.
Well, if we want to be discreet, this will
Yeah,
help.
now's the time.
Yeah, I think now is the time to go. Perhaps.
Yep, let's do it.
All right. So who are you fetching?
Well, I'll go get Ada, and do you want to go get Prime Water? Prime Water, Toothless?
If that's
Or Skull?
I'm happy to go get Prime Water.
I think I should stay here and hold on to her.
I would agree.
Okay.
Alright, we'll do that then.
I love a
Yeah,
good,
we need to
soaking
send Toothless
rainstorm.
to get Prime Water, not to Ida, because then she'll get scared.
All right. Toothless.
There was a reason I volunteered to get her myself.
Let's handle Toothless going to Prime Order. Toothless, you do you cut through the town or do you walk along the docks?
I think I would walk along the docks.
Okay. All right. You walk along the docks, heading in that general direction. As you do, um, let's see. Yeah, the rain is coming down heavier and heavier. Definitely causing some obscurement. Penalties to perception. You're amazing at perception, so now you have to kind of view the world like a normal person,
Man.
like would. But yeah, as you make your way through the streets, it is too crappy of a night. It's like 58 degrees and it's raining, so it's like cold and wet. It was like a kind of a junky day yesterday also. You make your way through the town until you see the large looming property that is Prime Water's estate. Um, Despite the late hour, there are still a few orange rectangles of light kind of shining out into the dark night. And you do see that there are oil lamps lit by the main entrance sort of thoroughfare. They have one of them pull around driveways where if you had carriages, you could drop people off, sort of thing, and steps that lead up to a sort of elevated front step sort of thing. And that is where these two lanterns are. And next to each of the lanterns is a guard. They are not town guards. They are definitely private security. They wear not so much uniforms, but they do both have brown and blue predominantly in their armor, clothing, and equipment. So they do sort of have a uniform look, despite not wearing uniforms. And they definitely seem to have sort of a heavy armor, not trying to be stealthy, shield, spear, short sword, crossbow, a lot of weapons. Like they have a lot of weapons for people whose job is to stand by a door, for sure. Uh, right now, with the rain, in the condition that it is in, and the lighting and everything else, these appear to be human guards. One of them may be half elven. It's hard to tell from the distance. But your perception is so good that you see them, they have not seen you. How do you want to proceed?
Man, that's a good question. I guess I was just gonna kind of walk up and say hello.
Okay.
Uh,
Something else I should mention,
yeah.
which is important, is standing next to the men are two of these.
Oh God.
Yeah, those are guard drakes. They are a type of dragon. A drake is a dragon without wings. They are not. They're not very smart. They're not proper um, dragons. It would be like someone comparing an alligator or a crocodile to a lizard folk. Like you have similarities, obviously, but one is an animal or a beast, and one is uh, the absolute perfection of uh, humanoid form. So you see how there would be a difference there. So yeah, they have two of them, and they are sort of like laying down at their feet, kind of snoozing. But every now and then you see the spines along their throat and neck area where their ear holes would be, like kind of twitch as if they're sleepy, but they're still, on the clock, as it were. And these are very big creatures. They are pushing the limits of medium size. So they would still be a medium sized creature, but they are pushing the limits of medium size.
Hmm.
Hmm. You know that your people have often discussed how cool it would be if they had their own hunting drakes and guard drakes, because it would be a mad status symbol to have something like that, to protect your settlement.
Um. I Ah, jeez. Sorry.
No worries. I mean, I just want you to know like what you're seeing as you approach. So
I think
yeah.
I think I'll just approach and say that we have an urgent
Sure.
message for Prime Water.
All right. You do one of those step out of the rain maneuvers, like where, yeah. And as you kind of step out of the rain into the light, again, it's not about being racist, but you are a monstrous race in a humanoid town. So the guards immediately pull some profiling, and they are ready to fight. They have reached for their initiative dice. Um, they give kind of a soft kick, and the drakes open their golden eyes, and you see them kind of blink both sets of eyelids, and then narrow their eyes, and a low rumbling growl comes from each of the creatures.
I'll
Yeah.
I don't know quite what like a submissive lizard would like do, but I would try
Yeah.
and do that for the lizard things.
Okay.
And at the same time be like, we have an urgent message for Prime Water. Just one lizard man. If we could talk with him quickly, that would be helpful. I know that was a little concerning, the rain and all. It's a spooky night.
So what is the most? I don't know if this is confusing for you or not, but they just roll with it. Like when you say that, like the one guard says, "Oh yeah, is that so? All right, wait right here." And you're kind of, I would say, surprised that it just was that easy, given the situation. So the guy sort of dips inside, and the other person, the one that looks a little half elven, stands there and, uh, flanked by these two hulking ass beasts, and they just sort of look at you with a level gaze. They don't say anything because they're professionals. Um, you go ahead and give me a handle animal for the two dragons. I mean, it's insulting, but like it makes sense. Yeah, whatever lizardy pheromones you're putting out is definitely kind of putting them a bit more at ease, and their ease with you seems to also put the half elf at ease as well. And the half elf looks at you and says, "You have a way with these things. Is that do your people raise drakes as well?"
We do. Um, they're a beautiful creature and very useful.
Yes, Prime Water paid a pretty penny for these.
Uh, well, that makes sense. He's a very apparently wealthy man. I would want to have good guards.
Yeah, we try our best. It's I thought it was going to be a pretty boring night, but you seem to have spiced that up pretty quick.
I'm a spicy man.
That's what they say around town. You're that
Yes.
lizard folk, Toothy, right?
Yes, Mr. Toothless.
Hmm.
But I'm happy to wait here. It's a
Okay.
lovely night. I'll have to uh, moisturize my scales.
Okay. You are coming across as so strange and unassuming that the individual they just kind of like cock their head like curiously, and they say, "Hey, it's awful cold. I was gonna have a smoke. Would you like one?"
Aye, or two or three.
All right, yeah. So they produce a tobacco pouch, and they roll you a cigarette, and they roll themselves a cigarette, and they reach for some tinder twigs to light it, uh, get everything going, and the two of you share a smoke in the rain, waiting for waiting for something to happen. About 10 minutes later, the guard returns and says, "Well, it's you know." It is what it is. I told him a big lizard man was here to see him, and it was important, and that apparently was all he needed to hear. So he'll meet with you in the sitting room. I'll Yeah. Um, I would tell you to like take off your boots or something, but I don't. Do you wear boots? Is that?
Nah, just my scales.
Uh,
I'll,
Wipe your feet.
if you have if you have a towel or a rug or something.
Yeah. So you, you dry off your feet or whatever before heading in, and on the other side of the door is a elderly gnome. She is maybe 2 feet tall, and she basically looks like Angela Lansbury if she was a gnome. So it's very like exactly like her. If I had, I mean, I have a miniature for her if you want to kill her, but I hope you don't. But anyways, for those of you who are too young to know who Angela Lansbury is, uh, that's what the gnome looks like. And she says, she just looks up at you and she says, "My, you're a big one."
Huh? Yeah. Yes, that's what the ladies say.
Oh, come in from the rain. It's too cold for your kind to be out there in this weather. And
Well,
she
thank
starts
you.
prestidigitating like all of the mud and water off of you with magic.
Well,
She says, "Follow me. Master Primewater is going to meet with you in his sitting room." And inside, you've been studying human culture for a while. This house would be ostentatious. It would, yeah. There's bookshelves that have like one thing on them. That's how ostentatious it is. Yeah, like it's just yeah, it's terrible. But it's also very tasteful, very beautiful, lots of art, that kind of thing. All right. She leads you, tiny gnome lady, leads you not very far. And she kind of pulls a door aside, like a wooden sliding door, and there is a comfortable sitting room. It has very plush, comfortable looking furniture. There's a little what is it? One of them bars that are on like a cart. Uh, any alcoholics want to help me out with this? Like you don't have to be an alcoholic to know, but like, God, what is it? The bar that's on a
A
cart. Oh
wet
my
bar?
gosh. Anyways,
The bar
Yes.
yeah,
cart?
What?
a bar cart. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, there's like that. It's got like some very expensive looking liquor, all that jazz, crystal glasses. It's fancy stuff. And then sitting there in a nightshirt and some breeches, bare feet. He's got very hairy legs. You notice.
Oh. Oh.
Oh no.
The better to stay warm in cold weather, my dear. And he looks tired, but he also looks alert. As a very alert person, as a very observant person, you know that look, the look of someone who is hungry for input, who is always has their eyes and ears open, and he is appraising you. Do you want to make a deception roll, or do you allow yourself to be appraised?
I would allow myself to be
Don't mess
appraised.
around,
Okay.
Crash. Just
We're-
show us the
we're-
picture so we can
we're
all
an
roll
honest
insight
people.
against him.
I mean, I don't have a picture of him in his nightshirt, but to remind you,
What are
that
his
is what he
true
looks like.
intentions?
Yeah. So a real DM would have a team of artists on hand and like full 3D models and the whole deal. Sorry, I can't provide that true experience for you yet.
Costs $20 a month.
We're gonna get there soon. I'm telling you, AR VR is gonna take Dungeons and Dragons to the next level.
But can I appraise him in any way, or
Yeah, sure.
can we have like
Do-
can we
yeah.
have like an appraise off?
Do an insight check on him. Absolutely.
Oh yeah, you bring it, man.
Oh.
Oh no, no.
Okay. What is
He
your
looks like
passive
a-
insight though?
20.
20. Okay, yeah. He is the hardest soft skin that you have ever tried to read. He is like a lizard folk in the way that he is able to compartmentalize and box up his emotions. The only thing you pick up from him is that he is curious, he is tired, but he is also cautious and interested. Those are all the things you kind of pick up from him. And yeah, I guess that's a good point, Thogrum. With less clothes on, you see that he has a number of tattoos from his days as a sailor / privateer pirate. Yeah, so
Smuggler.
he's got a lot of that going on. A lot of scars. He's got a lot of scars. And his arms are pretty furry too. Like for like he's one of them. He's one of them like Burt Reynolds, hairy kind of guys. Like
Okay.
he would have done really well in the '80s with the ladies. Maybe not so much nowadays, but all right. So he takes your measure, you take his measure, and he says, "Toothless, it's late."
Yes, we have found Sigma, the captain of the pirates. We would like to bring you to her now. While discretion can be achieved. I think that's a word you guys use, discretion. Humans are very weird.
Discretion could be used. Gotcha. Well, I am flattered that you came to me, and I am also impressed that you used the rain and the late hour to make it as discreet as possible. I know that subterfuge and discretion is not a habit of your people, and so I greatly appreciate it.
I had some help from, yes, some of the party members. They're a little bit more well versed with you all.
You seem stressed, friend. Would you like a drink? Something to warm us up before we head back into the cold.
And a smoke.
Absolutely. And he opens a box of cigars. And the smell of these cigars reaches your nose holes and stirs something deep inside of you. You have not smelled tobacco like this before. It is super exotic. I think you have some herbalist training too, right?
He does, and he would
Yeah.
definitely take
Yeah, your curiosity would definitely be piqued, I think, by that. So he gets out his cutter, his cigar cutter, and of course everyone else who is not here is immediately picturing him chopping your fingers off as he interrogates you, because they think he's a bad guy. So he does sort of chop the ends of the cigars off and lights them for you and hands them to you, and it's lit and it's so good, it's so delicious. There's like a spiciness to it and just a fiery sort of aftertaste. And as you're smoking it, it just goes all up in your throat sac and just kind of like hangs out there for a while, just warming you up. And he pours you like a tumbler with like just a thick golden liquid that almost is like honey in the way it like clings to the glass.
Toothless will do something that will seem weird.
Okay.
He'll pour Buddy a little sip,
Sure.
and then he'll take the second sip if Buddy still is alive.
Because
Buddy, Buddy cares. Buddy lives.
yeah, he watches you with bemusement, and you hear a human female voice comment. Look, the lizard has his own puppet. And you look over, and there is a woman, and she is wearing barely anything, just like a night shift kind of deal. And she is, if you had to gauge, she would be in her late 20s. So she's much younger than Prime Water. But she seems very comfortable with him, and he seems very comfortable with her. And he does not at all seem startled by her appearance or like embarrassed or like he's trying to hide anything. In fact, he smiles and turns to her and he says, sweetheart, I did not mean to wake you. I had business. And she just kind of tilts her head and says, business. It's always business. And he just says, yes, that's what keeps us in this beautiful house, my dear, and keeps the town thriving in its business. And she says, this one has a poppet all his own. And he says, he does. It's a lovely little one, too. And she just kind of turns to you, Toothless, and she says, what is your poppet's name?
He goes by the name of Buddy. If you would like to touch him very briefly, you may.
All right. Her eyes alight, and she glides over to you and grabs, not grabs, but delicately reaches out and caresses the cheek of the doll. And she says, Buddy loves you very much. You're good to him, and he's good to you. He doesn't like the dwarf very much, though. And then
So-
she just
so-
kind of smiles at you.
Uh,
Yeah, and her hand lingers on Buddy.
Can I ask her a question?
Sure.
How do you know that about my doll? Previously, I thought only he had told this to me.
She leans in conspiratorially and she says, some of us know how to listen better than others.
Yes, I agree.
Like,
How do-
listen to the rain with me. Do you hear the gods crying?
I listen to the rain. Do I hear the gods crying?
I mean, could be.
I do.
Could be, yeah.
Ah, yes, they are. I've heard them many times crying.
All right. And you see that Prime Water is watching this interaction, and your earnestness, the fact that you're actually crazy too, and that you're not like being insulting or like just humoring her, you can see that it actually like kind of touches the dude that that you're indulging her like this, but not in like a mean way.
Mm.
Yeah.
No, that's fair. I'm definitely not trying to be mean.
Oh no, yeah. So
Yeah.
So Prime Water kind of clears his throat and he says, "Sweetheart, it is late and you need your rest. I have to step out for a bit. Again, business. I'll be back in the morning for breakfast." And she just kind of like looks very, very sad, and she says, the rain will wash all the blood away.
Mm.
And he says, the rain has the habit of doing that, yes. Go, come. I'll take you back to bed. I'll need to change. Mr. Toothless, please feel free to indulge of my hospitality in my absence. I'll be down in 10 minutes, and then we can head out.
I can wait.
Okay. And she says, over her shoulder, she just kind of looks back as he leads her out of the room, and she says, be careful, buddy. It's a dangerous world out there for poppets.
Toothless will
So
pour Buddy a
creepy.
little bit more alcohol.
All right. So, across town, Tari, you arrive at the Owlland estate. It is a spooktacular in the rain, for sure. So, as you approach, they have, I mean, they have guards, but the guards are definitely not as formal or as organized as Prime Warner's estate. This is a noble family. They have plenty of grandchildren to steal and ransom, so they do have, security. But as you arrive, it is very, it's a chaotic place. It's very haphazard, lots of smaller buildings strapped together to make one bigger building. And even at this late hour, there are a few orange lights of triangle giving light against the heavy rain that is falling. You do identify the front door because you guys have been here before. And Tari, as you kind of approach, you do see that standing by the door are two guards. These guards do not have crazy wingless dragons. They have big old mastiffs, 2 big old mastiffs, and they look cold and tired and miserable. One of them is smoking a pipe. The other one is reading a book, and she's trying very hard to keep the book out of the rain.
I love them already.
Okay.
I just kind of clear my throat as I'm coming up out of the rain, and I say, "I'm here to see Ida. It's sort of an emergency. I think she would want to know. Could you tell her that Tari is here? And what you're reading to the other one."
Okay, yeah, both their jaws kind of drop as this beautiful, mysterious individual kind of comes out of the rain. And the one kind of goldfishes a little bit and then kind of closes her mouth up and she says, "Oh, it's one of them Elminster novels. It's the one where he's shagging Mistra for like 100 years to gain superpowers."
Oh, that one. Yeah, that's a great one.
Yeah, and she sort of like awkwardly shows you the book like a little kid does when you ask them like, "What are you working on, champ?" And they kind of like nervously like hold it up with both hands. Again,
cute.
I
these
say like
are
I remember I read that one when I was breaking up with my last partner. It was such a mess, and I really escaped into this. So you're in for a treat.
yeah, their love is like eternal.
It is really, isn't it?
Yeah. Uh
I'm Tari. What's your name?
ah gosh.
Guard number
Uh,
2, is it? Pleased to
no,
meet you, guard number 2.
my name is Nina Shellcracker. And it's a pleasure to meet you, she says, and she kind of tucks the book away, and you see that she has a mace and she has a shield, and strapped to her, self is a light crossbow, and there is a side holster of bolts and all that. She's wearing sort of like a quilted overlay type armor, so it's like a medium armor essentially, like hide, but a little more civilized. Um, yeah, these are definitely a different cut of personal security than what they've got at the Prime Water Estate. And the man guard, he just says, with his pipe clenched in his teeth, he says, "So you're here in the middle of the night to see a 65-year-old woman?"
I am. Well, would you mind just asking her if she would be all right with seeing me? I do
Oof.
think that she would think it's important, and I'll
Oof.
just try to persuade him that
Okay, yeah, give me a persuasion check.
yeah.
Okay, okay. 14's pretty good. And seeing that he's not eager to do this, the lady guard says, "Oh, she never sleeps. Just go see if she's still up. I mean, just real quiet, knock on the door. If she answers, if she doesn't, then we just, you tried your best." And he kind of nods and he says, "You're going to be okay out here by yourself? I mean, no offense to you." That he kind of holds his hand out at you, Turi.
I don't. If you need to chain me up or whatever while you're,
Oh my
I.
God, no! Who what? Who does that? Oh my gosh, no, no. He seems like really confused and embarrassed. He's like, "Oh gosh, the children live here, Come on now. Jeez." And so he kind of heads into the house, and there's a time, and about 10 minutes later, you hear a angry old woman on the other side of the door, and you hear the guard say, "Well, ma'am, I mean, if you're going to go out in this weather, I insist that I insist you don't. That's what I." And you just hear, "I didn't say I was going anywhere. I just said I wanted to see for myself. That's what I said." and he's just like, all right, you're the boss. Sure, sure. The door opens, and the tiny 65-year-old woman stands before you.
And I say, Ada, it's so great to see you again. And if she seems like a handshake or a hug would be appropriate, I will try to see what the appropriate social greeting is for her and then perform that
She is in her
appropriately.
she is in her nightgown. She looks like Mama Bear from the Berenstain Bears books.
With the little hat?
Yeah,
With
with
the
the
ruffle?
yeah, yes. She has the hat. She has the ruffle. It matches her nightgown. She does not look like she wants a hug right now. She
Cool.
wants she wants an explanation.
I say, the person that was on the boat, if you'd come with me, I think I can provide you with...
Oh my. Is it this is exciting. Okay. I should get on my boots. I should. She looks down at her clothes. I should get on my clothes. There's time still, yes?
Yeah.
Oh, this feels so she leans in close. Clandestine.
Transgressive, even.
Certainly. Yes. Please, step inside. Step inside. You shouldn't be
Thank
out.
you.
Yeah, you don't need to be out in this weather. And
Thank you.
I'll be back. I need to just go get something warmer on. And she kind of
Perfect.
heads back into the house, and she smells heavy of like pipe smoke. Like that she has recently been smoking a pipe. She's probably like like old people do. Old people can't sleep; their bodies hurt too much. So she's been probably reading a book, smoking a pipe. So you get the feeling that you haven't roused her. She seems very alert and very awake. The female guard kind of watches you from the door with interest, a different interest than the male guard who is scrutinizing you in a what a bad influence on an old woman kind of way. Time
I
passes.
wink at him and I say, "Oh, let her live a little. Let her enjoy this.
She did live a little." And he kind of shines his lantern.
A little more."
And you do see the painting of her like in her youth holding that spear standing over that dragon, and the dragon is dead.
Wow, that must be an incredible story. I'll have to ask her for it on the way.
What
What was your name?
Deep in her cups. I'm Daniel.
Daniel, it's really a pleasure to meet you. I'm sorry to come up in the middle of the night like this. I know it's most irregular.
That's fine. It's fine. Yeah, no.
I'll bring her back safe and sound.
Of course. But you say that, but I'm coming with you. So
yeah, you're welcome. As long as it's okay
Daniel
with her.
Leaf Briar, and I will be
Daniel
accompanying
Leaf
you.
Dwyer?
Leaf Briar.
Leaf Briar.
All right. Time passes. She comes back, and she is ready. She's ready she's got her galoshes on. She has a umbrella. She is ready for action. She is wearing a very clandestine cloak. It has a hood. So pretty much she's ready for master spycraft action.
Excellent.
All right. So the two forces convene back at Illyria's house. Back at Illyria's house, while they are gone for the 30 minutes or so that they're gone, does anything happen, or do you guys just take a breather? Illyria, are you a good hostess? Do you get out cookies and?
Yeah, I had written that I would start prepping tea.
Okay, fantastic.
Biscuits and pastries. Set out some pickles for
I don't
school.
have enough time. Ooh.
You hear Captain Sigma Snake Eye's stomach growl hungrily, betraying her humanoid weakness. She has since sort of slumped against the wall and is just sort of sitting there against the wall, really unable to do anything. But when that smell of tea and everything kind of gets into the air, yeah, her stomach just grumbles because it's been a while since she had something to eat. Just throwing that information out there. So the rest of you, you just kind of wait?
Yeah, I think so.
All right. So, There's a knock at the door, and you see that there are many figures outside the door, Skull. The second knock is quite familiar to you, Skull, and you realize that it is safe to open the door.
Okay. Yep.
All right.
Shaving a
Do you guys
haircut.
open the door? Basically, yeah. Okay, so you open the door, and in steps a bunch of people. There is a basic bitch human guard who, wouldn't you know it, I just don't have art for, because populating a town of several thousand people with art is tricky. But he's there, and then also Prime Water's there, and Owlin's there, and your two allies are there.
And Daniel?
Yes, Daniel is there. Yep. Let's see. I'll reach into my bag of random humanoid photos and grab you a Daniel. Why not? Let's see. All right. While I'm doing that, do you guys have any introductions? Anything you want to say or do? Owlin kind of steps in, and she is at first admiring your home, and then she sees the trussed up woman, and she just says, "Oh my, this is really happening."
It is. It sounds like you've waited a long time for this.
Oh man, this Daniel miniature is the shit. That's definitely the kind of guy who you want to bring in on your gangland assassination.
Duly noted.
He fits
file
the
that one
Weasley
away.
stereotype too.
All right. So, yeah, with such wholesome NPCs, how could you think these two are bad guys? All right. So, Prime Water says, Ida, it's always good to see you. Apparently, we, despite some complications, have chosen the right people to do business with. I take this to mean that you have secured her ship.
Yes.
Aye.
Aye. We would like to discuss or ensure that it becomes our ship, perhaps, but
Of
that's
course.
for another time.
Now, is there a place to sit, Miss Illyria?
Oh yes. So I would have like a little coffee table and a two-seater couch with
My
one chair.
apologies for being so formal. Miss Payne.
Ooh.
Oh.
I like that.
Am I not transmitting?
We hear
Oh no,
you.
you are.
I hear you.
Oh, okay, I'm
yeah,
sorry.
No, he realized that you might not want to be called by your first name, so he corrected himself.
Oh, that's quite all right. Don't worry. And I'll lead him to the seating area.
Okay.
I'll stand. Ida can sit. And
All
Prime
right.
Water.
Spencer must be losing his mind. All these new people.
I know, right? Seems so.
Yeah,
retriever.
yeah. He's definitely making some like low honks at this point for sure. And he's actually staying very close to your captive. Whether it is to sit on her if she tries to escape, or just because he is secretly a service dog in his heart and he knows that this woman is distressed. You're not sure. But he is definitely staying over there. She's a terrible person. Don't feel bad for her. He's over there, just kind of sitting, and yeah, he's watching his mouth agape at all of these people, and they do kind of. It's dark, right? And he's all black, and it's one of those things that you don't look for a dinosaur, kind of thing. And then when Ida catches hold of him, she clutches at her chest, like heart attack style. And she says, "Oh my heavens! Oh, and I thought your drakes were strange. Oh, if I might ask, Miss Payne, what is that?
This is Spencer, and Spencer, come here.
What is a Spencer? I did a bit of adventuring. I've worked the waters my whole life. I've never seen a Spencer before."
Well,
Some
he's
kind of dinosaur from Schultz?
no, not quite a dinosaur. He's a whale hound.
Oh, Gellin says. Oh. Oh. Oh, that makes a lot of sense now. Oh, okay. Wow. Well, happy timing for you. Festival is rained out and packing up. They're going to be out of here. I believe in the morning. I think they're going to strike and just head out. Um, I think that belonged to them actually. They uh, they had posted up some billets looking for a beast of that description.
Really?
Yeah, there was a reward and everything. So
Oh.
yeah, there's a turtle that travels with Mr. Maggots. He's a scale merchant. Um, a dreadful term, but a person that buys and sells monsters.
Oh,
Yeah.
I don't like the
Apparently,
sound of that.
en route to Saltmarsh, they had to deal with some gnolls. You've probably seen the billet for that too. Some gnoll bandits that are harassing people on the road. And I guess in the attack and defense against these bandits, Cage got overturned, and uh, Big Boy there must have escaped.
That's why he was hurt when I found him.
I suppose. I mean, he's probably hurt because that turtle's a real son of a bitch and doesn't treat his creatures very well. I was talking to him because home defense is very important to me. Very special people in my life I like to take care of. So I'm always on the lookout for monsters. But yeah, a lot of his stuff seemed to be in real bad shape. He had a cockatrice chick. I thought about it, but that's one of those things that seems like a cool pet, and then the next thing you know, you're a statue. So
Do you know where he would be heading also after
Damn.
after this?
Yes.
uh, I think they're headed to Daggerford next.
Daggerford. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you.
She turns to the side and writes it down.
Yeah.
In my notebook, my burn list.
mean, I don't know. Is your name asshole? He says to Spencer, and Spencer kind of cocks his head, and he lets out a honk of acknowledgement. Honk! Like that's me. I'm asshole. And he's like, yeah, I think that's him.
You're not an asshole, Spencer.
Well,
You're the best
look,
boy.
You found him fair and square. It's none of my business. So the woman next to him is our business. Now we had discussed a contract here that we would do. We would do honest by you. You could either take a large amount of dragons, or we would assist you in essentially getting the ship registered in your names, or we would assist you in registering the property known as the house that crawls to you. Now, I'd like to hear what happened, because I have a few ideas of my own that might sweeten the pot here a little bit, or at least maybe pique your interest. Uh, I'll be honest. Uh, I hear you do good work. Word on the street is that you're heroes. Eleander was telling me you guys wiped out some cultists, apparently, that had taken up residence in the house that crawls. Pretty impressive stuff.
So you've already heard the bad news then. Let's just start there.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. It's not bad news. It's not bad news at all. Um, because I was very quick to tell him that you were all gainfully employed by me, and that I had graciously declined taking credit for what transpired there, because there's no need to brag on a good deed well done, but that if he felt the need to make a big deal about it if he felt that the presence of demonic cultists is something that would help the reputation of Saltmarsh and the people that live in it, he was welcome to shout it from the rooftops. And oddly enough, he didn't have much to say after that.
Well, truly you are a master of your craft.
Truly, it was serendipitous that you were there. I had heard that he had caught wind of hinky stuff going on up there, and he was sending his own team. I was worried that it would implicate Ida and myself, and in a way it did. But by you being there to suss things out for them, you were able to tell the kind of story that we could work with. So, thank you.
Well, okay then.
What is I feel like there's a sense of relief here. Were you afraid that we would be upset? It would be ridiculous for us to think that you could manage the independent thoughts and actions of the 3,000 plus people that live in this city. Like, chaos is a thing. Like, Timora is a fickle goddess. Sometimes the dice roll in your favor and sometimes they don't. It is about mitigating luck. It is about affecting the change that is affecting you. It's about working with what you are dealt.
Well,
If we were worried about perfection, we would never get anything done. And he looks over at Ida, and she smiles and she says, "That's right. Life is messy. Shit happens. So the important thing is that you took down this captain, and you had the skill and the restraint to bring her back here. This is a boon."
excellent.
So please, regale us. Tell us of your adventures at sea.
I look around to see who everybody else is looking at. If people are looking for me to tell the story, I'm happy to tell it. But if other people want to tell the story, I don't want to override them.
Either way,
Okay.
I mean, I could go into it, but you probably could tell it
Yeah,
better.
go ahead. No, go. Do it.
All right, so
Do
we did
it.
our own little
Do it.
stakeout
Do
at
it.
the house that crawls and the secret caves within where the cultists were hiding. We came up with a really clever plan and disguised a couple of our own as some of the bandits and the leader. His name was Sam Linné. He is no more. We hijacked their jolly boat. We used Spencer as some. We used him as basically to appeal to these pirates' greedy side. We offered him up as a rare oddity that they might be able to make some money on, and they took us onto the ship under the guise of their late comrades. Me, myself, and Toothless here. We hid under the boat. We, while they were distracted, we boarded the ship, I guess you'd call it. An epic battle happened. There was a giant spider. This one here got some.
Not to interrupt there, but what happened to that very handsome dwarf? He didn't die, did he?
Old Thogrim? No, he lives now. He is taking care of the ship.
What about that real skinny kid with all the scarves?
Which one did you mean Haxel?
Haxel, I think.
Haxel. Yeah, it's definitely Haxel.
Skinny kid. Oh, he was the one disguised as Sam Linné. He did a pretty good job.
Oh, did he perish?
Not yet.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
He'd be pretty
Things are
pretty
escalating quickly.
pragmatic about that. I think we all perish soon, but not yet.
Okay, I'm sorry. Keep going. Epic battle, snuck up. What sort of forces were you up against?
There were 7 total.
Only 7.
Oh.
How the fuck did she sail her ship?
Wait a minute.
Some surrendered.
Ah, yeah, pirates will do that.
Once they saw that we took out Sigma, they dropped their swords.
Um,
So, you took out the captain. They surrendered. What'd you find? Anything good on the ship? Were they dealing with slaves? That's the big question.
there was one, the elf.
A single slave? Hmm.
Apparently, the captain had a personal vendetta against him, or something. A lover's quarrel? I don't know. He was chained up in
Interesting.
a very small room near the bottom of the ship.
Ah.
We also.
They did seem very
Oh,
excited
a
about.
secret compartment. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Oh, every ship's got one of those, even a fishing ship. That's where you hide when the pirates come. At least, that's where you hide the kids, at least. They have to live with the whole reality of you being, butchered by pirates. But, if the bitch queen's watching out for them, I guess they can still live through it. Anyway, sorry to ramble. Keep going. Keep going.
You were gonna say something, Turi?
I was just going to say that they expressed a definitive interest in trading people, and they asked us if we had people to trade them, I believe. And also, they were very excited about Spencer as well. They were a little, I believe, she was a little disappointed that he wasn't a person
Oh,
available for selling.
I have to
But
ask you.
she's here if you want to ask her.
Did you, where's it? Here we go. She's kind of flipping through her little moleskin, and she's licking her fingers, old lady style, like turning the pages. She puts her readers on, and she's like, "Did you see an Ohms Oakham or
What now?
no, but a nerdy fella, as the gnomes would say, and he hangs out with a bunch of nerds. They apparently they went missing a few days ago. We thought maybe when we saw little Olivia putting up the billets, we thought maybe that you might have found them along with the others. We're having a lot of disappearances, it seems.
Unfortunately not. You said Owen.
Hmm.
Owenson?
Ohms, Oakham.
No one
Mm,
does that
There
description.
you go. I'll type it in here.
He sounds tasty.
Come to think of it, I might have a copy of the billet here somewhere, and she's kind of rummaging around in her satchel, looking for it. While she's doing that, Gellin Primewater has said nothing throughout your entire story, but you get the unsettling
Yeah.
feeling that he has listened to and committed everything you've said to memory.
So far.
Yeah. So what? Yeah, I guess. What do you guys have anything else to add about the story, or do we close it out with that bit of information?
I think it's fine either way.
I think that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. You sounded like you had more to say, Prime Water.
Oh, Prime Water. Yeah. So Prime Water. Again, he's just kind of watching you guys and listening, and he says, "Well, out of curiosity, if they only had one slave, what exactly were they transporting? You don't have to tell me, but it'd be nice to know."
Out of character, I
How
think we
much would it
should.
be worth to you?
Was that a thumbs up, Skeleton's
I don't
down.
know. I was just saying out of character. We probably should just tell him what else was on
Well,
it.
we told them before what they had, right? That they
Yeah.
had
And they let us
More,
keep
more of
it.
the
they had
same.
the
more or
Yeah.
less,
silk,
yeah.
and then which right?
Do we tell them about
Did
the
they
lizard?
have?
That's the big one. Is about the lizard folks. And I got
Does
Yeah.
anyone have message?
I think since Toothless and he
We look
like
around wide-eyed.
shared a drink and some smokes together, he'll say, "I'd like to be able to tell the answer, but I can't until we've talked among the group.
Oh no.
Hopefully you'll respect that."
She did say that we would be able to keep it, though. In the,
But I think they might be different. So.
Oh, wait, I think I found it. Here we go. Missing one of our lumber teams. Oh, no. Oh, God. No, that's not the right one, but yeah.
That also happened.
Yeah.
Ain't been seen for days.
There we go. Holmes Oakham and his team have gone missing in the Dunwater Marshes. That's where your folk are from, she says a bit coldly to Toothless.
Toothless gives her a little smile, like a little toothy smile.
Eh.
Is it terrifying?
He's trying to be nice,
But
but it may
I
come off
guess
as being terrifying.
I guess while we're on the subject, you could just take both of these. I mean, if you see either of any of these people, it'd be great to find out what's going on here.
Is the Dreadwood near the marshes or like opposite directions?
The Dreadwood is sort of up against it a bit. Let's see.
The other question while you're looking at the map there is how many swamps, like particularly like named swamps, are around Saltmarsh? Because we know of her brother Vilsar is operating in one of them.
I'm also trying to figure out why the word Saltmarsh is not on the map anymore, which is a little weird. Oh, you know what? It's because I relayered something, so I have to drop that on there again. Hold on. I was like, the Saltmarsh isn't labeled anymore. Okay, so what was the other question? Sorry,
If
I was
how
distracted by
many
the-
how many like named like swamps? They're probably separated because we know that Vilsar is acting in one. Is operating in one of
Okay,
them. Like how many swamps?
So there's yes, that is a good question. There is the Dunwater Swamp, which is where the lizard folk are from. That is like the largest one in the area. Then there is the High Moor, which is further east and inland, and that is a massive swamp. That is one of the largest swamps on the continent. And then sort of mixed in with all of those other swamps are smaller ones that just have like a scattering of different like local sort of names for it. But for the most part, the whole of it is called either the Saltmarsh or the Dunwater Marsh. But again, there are smaller sort of pockets and everything that locals like trappers and hunters and stuff like that might refer to, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I could get you a comprehensive list of them.
No, it's
but
fine.
it's generally one of those things that like in the adventure they'll be like in the so and so fens, and then that's like basically like a subsection of like the Dunwater marshes.
Okay.
So okay.
That's 3 new quests. We got these 2 flyers, and we got I guess if we want to take care of some gnolls, we can. That might be easy. Or
All right. So, anyways, they hand you those 2 billets, and Prime Water though. Did you? I got so distracted by Ida and her billets, and then Saltmarsh being missing on the map. Did you guys mention what you found? Just kind of more of the same sort of thing, or do you guys play it closer to the vest?
Toothless asked for time to confer amongst ourselves if that was
Oh.
all right with them.
Gellin says it would be very difficult for me not to hear what you're saying, so I will go stand outside.
We appreciate that.
Oh.
And he excuses himself and takes out a cigarette, and he goes and he stands outside and smokes it in the rain. And as he passes, he says, "Daniel, how's the wife?" And Daniels just says, she's great, Mr. Prime Water. She's great. She'll be having the baby soon." Prime Water's like, "Excellent. I'll have my staff send a gift." "Oh, you don't have to do that, sir." No. It's please. Opportunities for generosity are rare. I don't want to miss one. And he kind of puts his hand on the man's shoulder and gives a squeeze, and then he steps out into the rain.
What does Ida do?
Oh, yeah. So Ida is like, "Oh, should I? Do you not want me to hear either? I understand.
No, yeah.
Is there a washroom? I have to piss like a horse right now."
Yes, it's just right there.
Okay. And she heads in, and you hear old lady humming and peeing. That whole thing. All right. So what are you guys up to?
So I think it's fine to
Very
tell
quietly,
them
so that way
about all
Sigma can't hear, right? Or Sigma can just say whatever the fuck she wants, right?
She
Yeah,
can't say
yeah.
anything, but she's definitely
So-
hearing everything. But
But
The only thing I'm not sure about is whether or not to talk about the lizard folk. I don't know if we want, because I think we've made up our minds and that we want to more or less give them the guns, and I am fine with that choice. So thumbs up, thumbs down, talk about the lizard folk or just talk about the loot, and I'll put my thumb down.
well, I'm fine with talking
Thumbs
with
down
lizard
for
folk.
lizard
I
folk,
feel
right?
like-
Is that the?
To
Thumbs
tell
down.
them that the lizard folk were on the boat, but to tell them that tell them what smuggled items were on the boat, but not
Okay.
omit the presence of the lizard folk for now.
I'd tell them that lizard folk would be good because I have no reason to hide that. I'm just worried about telling about the guns and how they'll react to that.
yeah.
Honestly, we should just talk about the lizard folk. If they ask about anything else, we'll just tell them about the other loot because they already know that they were already smuggling that kind of stuff. It's just more of the same. We don't have to talk about the guns.
I'll just choose like whatever Toothless and Skull want to do, since this is the most important to them.
Skull. What do you have any thoughts?
Lizard folk, yes. Guns, no.
Yeah.
I will. Yes, I will. The same for me, for Toothless.
All right.
I just wonder if they'll ask why the lizard folk were on the boat, and then they're really on the boat for the thing that we want to omit. So, but I defer to
well.
the.
I mean,
Maybe they need a ride.
Sigma can put a wrench in whatever we say.
You can't say
That's true.
anything.
Yeah, but once they have her in her possession, their possession.
Oh yeah. Oh whatever.
So,
That doesn't matter.
do we
doesn't
lie
matter.
and
So
then get
don't
found
lie.
out?
Let's just
But
tell them
don't
everything.
lie,
And
but
that's
perhaps
fine.
A light omission. All right.
Yeah.
Toothless, are you okay with that?
So, what's the lie of omission?
There will be no lies of omission. We'll tell them everything.
Everything?
Everything.
No. That's it.
You hear?
Yeah, we want them to
you hear
trust us.
And
old
advocate
lady,
strongly for the
Old
lizard
lady
folk.
washing her hands,
Yep.
just humming to herself.
Okay. Yeah, we'll call them back in and.
Yeah,
we'll tell-
that's a lovely tune, Ada. Come sing it out here.
I have one for peeing and one for pooping.
All of us.
And she steps out, drying her hands, and she says, "I just tossed it right out the window. I figure the rain will take it away for you.
Okay.
I mean, this isn't Waterdeep. We don't have any of that
Yeah,
fancy
yeah.
running water or whatever weird stuff they're doing now."
So the blood isn't the only thing the rains are going to wash away.
All right, so Daniel and Gellin step back into the room, and Daniel, Daniel's got a hinky die feeling, so he's just going to stay outside. He feels like it's better to be not involved in what's going on here, as much as he thought. So he's going to just stand outside. So the rest of you, they come in and they say, uh, I hope you've had time to discuss whatever you needed to discuss. We understand what it is to be young and unsure of who to trust. No hard feelings on my account. And none here. Saltmarsh probably feels like a nest of vipers to you, with all these old folks squabbling over the scraps of meat that they can find on the bones of this poor town.
Well, it doesn't
We
not feel like that.
and we have discussed. And actually, Haxel, if this is cool with you, I mean, Toothless.
Hax is not there.
No, Haxel and
Doggerm are on the boat.
Did I miss it?
Skull's there?
Yeah, they're taking care of the ship. Yeah,
That's right. Crap, I keep forgetting.
that's okay.
Toothless will be like, I mean, other people will discuss what we might say.
Okay. So he says, and again, not to be nosy, and you certainly don't have to tell me. We had a contract that said you could keep whatever you found, but we also mentioned that as part of your reward, if it was something difficult or illegal to process, that we would be able to assist you with that. So that is the main reason I asked. Also, I'm super greedy and a little curious.
Makes sense.
Skull, do you want to
Yeah, so this
explain
is
it?
yeah, so not only did we find more of the same, about 50 barrels of brandy and a dozen silks, same thing, Kuratur,
Nice.
Kuratar.
So you're, excuse my Elven, but you're fucking rich now.
No, we're no longer poor.
We're no longer.
That's one way to think of it. I have been rich and I have been poor, and rich is better.
They were also transporting a group of individuals, lizard folk, from, is it the northern region?
Were the lizard folk slaves?
They were not. They were actually there of their own accord. They were making.
Whoa! She kind of clutches her chest like she's just shook by this reveal. So wait, lizard folk pirates?
Pending.
Is that even a thing?
No.
Not yet.
Oh.
Pretty soon.
Maybe. They don't like the water, I've come to understand. So, might not have to worry about that.
That seems strange. I mean, look at them. She kind of motions at Toothless. Like, you don't like the water? I think I've seen you swimming in the canals. Don't tell me you don't like the water.
The big water.
The big water. The salty water.
The ocean. Oh, well, that's just because you have common sense. Yeah. The domain of Umberley is not a safe place.
Out of curiosity, have you heard of the Black Star?
The Black Star? No.
You mean the Scarlet Brotherhood? Sorry?
I mean, I have heard of them. Is there like two groups now that we have to worry about, or is it like a code name? Are we using code names for them now?
And no, it's just something I overheard on the boat, and so I was wondering if it was something that you had come across, but it doesn't seem like it's important now. I'll certainly keep you informed
If I were a spy, I think my code name would be the Owl, but I think that might be too on the nose.
Perhaps.
And you see Gellin, he just looks at this lady, and there's just like adoration on his face. Like, he just thinks that this old lady is the coolest old lady ever. There's definitely, it's not like a romantic kind of thing, or even like a family kind of thing. It's like, this is just one of the coolest people I know, is kind of like plainly on his face. And he's usually very hard to read. But I guess in that moment where she talks about being a spy named the Owl, there is a slight break in his defenses, where you could kind of see that, like, he cares very much for this person.
Mm.
So he says, so there's lizard folk. Why were the lizard folk there, if you could tell us, Toothless?
Why were the lizard folk on the boat?
Yeah, I mean, don't you? I'm sure that was the first thing you wanted to know.
It was.
Hmm.
They are being assaulted by apparently demon-like shark people from the sea, and they are, and it sounded like they were trying to defend those who live on the land from those who live at least
Sahaugen?
evilly in the sea. Saugen, yes.
Sahuagin, yeah.
What? Sahaugen. Consistent, repeated attacks in an inland area. Are you sure?
We had a
Uh,
mind to go check
this
it
is-
out ourselves after we concluded our business here.
But this is what we were told, and we have no reason to not believe them.
So, because they're being attacked by sea devils, they wound up on a ship with her, and he motions at Snake Eyes.
She was going to provide them with weapons to
Ah.
assist them with their attack.
Oh.
Their defense, may I say.
I could see that. Your people aren't really on the most current trends for weapons, so I could definitely understand it being a pretty easy sell once you got them on board for it. Huh? Huh? That's very progressive for lizard folk. Again, not to be offensive, but your people have done things the way that they do them for ever, so it seems it must be in really bad shape.
That seems likely. Hopefully,
All
they
right.
will be able to defend themselves.
I need to know right now, does anyone else in the town know about this?
No.
About the ship?
Because
No.
this is the kind of stuff that the Lord's Alliance and the Daggerfords are going to try to weaponize against your people, Toothless.
Mm.
Here's the thing.
It's
Saltmarsh is the first thing on the menu for them. After we become a city-state of the Kingdom of Daggerford, and start paying taxes and having to do things their way and having to change out all of our leadership for puppet leaders that do whatever the Duke of Daggerford says, etc., etc. You just have to look at a map and see that there is a straight line between Daggerford and Saltmarsh, and your homeland lies between it.
Mm.
Ida loves shouting. They're going to drain the swamp. But who lives in the swamp, Toothless?
we do.
Yeah, exactly. Now your people and our people, we've been living in peace for a long time now. We respect each other's boundaries. We don't overhunt or overfish your waters. You don't attack, kill, and eat us. So it's been pretty beneficial. Sometimes there's odd ducks like yourself coming to town. You don't get lynched. Progress, right? Progress is being made. I
I
guarantee you, you would not have that kind of treatment in Daggerford. I guarantee you, a Daggerford run Saltmarsh is not a Saltmarsh that has the best interest of the lizard folk in mind. And I guarantee you that if their agents in Saltmarsh found out that your people were preparing for a battle, they would spin it that that battle was aimed at us and not at the Sea Devils.
Hmm.
They would also take the opportunity while your people are busy fighting on one front to march their happy Daggerford asses right up your cloacas uh, in a pincer strike.
I'm still grimacing at the last one.
That's what your butts are called, right? I'm
Yeah. Well,
okay.
Among
Okay.
other parts.
yes, but let's move beyond that.
Okay.
No, that is. I agree. We should make sure that the lizard folk stay safe. I will, but I'm only one person in a party of several, so I will need to talk with them.
Well, I wish that you were all here because I have an offer for you, and I understand if you need some time to think it over. You've proven capable, quick thinking, and resilient. You have your own ship, and you have a ranger, uh, a druid, and that druid happens to be an excellent representative of a salt marsh that respects its neighbors. I would very much like to make your ship and its crew privateers of Saltmarsh. That is to say, you would be endorsed by the city, and you would be protected by the city, and that assuming you didn't run up a red flag and start murdering people up and down the coast and start pirating your rotten little guts out, that your actions would be endorsed by the city of Saltmarsh. We would, of course, pay you. Your dock fees would be waived. And in addition to all of that, you would keep a majority of whatever spoils you had when you were policing the waters. In exchange for these services, of course, we would need you to stay close enough to Saltmarsh that you could be called upon for aid in the defense of the city, and we could perhaps put your extremely unique skills to work investigating things that would be in the best interest of the city. And he looks over at Owland and she says, "Ah, you have such a way with words." And she just kind of ruffles his hair a bit, like he's 12.
That sounds amazing. But we do have a thing or two we were planning on doing. We were gonna return the lizard folk to their home, and I looked to see
Well,
if
that's
they're
good
like.
because I don't mean to speak out of turn, but I feel like I've earned it because I'm 65 years old. I would very much like you to take Mr. Toothless here and get this whole lizard folk thing sorted out. Why haven't they asked us for help, Toothless? Is it because we're racist?
I
I'm gonna make a call.
Well,
Right, I'll be right back.
I'll admit, I'm a little racist. When you came at me the other day, I pissed my pants a little bit.
I'm dying.
so he kind of like does that like crocodile blink at her, and like gives her a little smile, and then starts walking over to hug her.
All right, she readies against the fear. She mutters to herself, "I own my fear.
Do
I
I
am."
need a persuasion check or?
In the interest of diplomacy, she is going to make it through this.
Okay.
Yeah. So you give her a hug, and she hugs you back a little bit, and she says, "I can definitely understand why you didn't come to us for help. Yeah, I get it. We got to fix that. We got to fix that right away. So I would very much, if you take the job, I would very much like you to go and talk to these people, and let them know that they're our neighbors, and that if they're in trouble, we're there for them. Uh, these sea devils, they're no joke. They are a menace, and it's only a matter of time before they start affecting our fishing ships and our trade routes and start making their way into our waterways. Um, so this is mutually beneficial to both our people that we work together on this. So I would very much like you to follow up with them and find out what's going on.
We like to say, how is it the humans say it, or the softskins? We like friends with benefits. So yes.
Mm,
I
excellent.
don't think that word means what you think it means.
Now, a lot has been discussed. I'm going to spare you the mess of dealing with Captain Snake Eyes here. Gellin, we will turn her in to the authorities because that is the right thing to do. And in doing so, we will also say that the people of Saltmarsh apprehended this foul pirate without the aid of Daggerford, and we have done the right thing by turning her in so she can face swift justice. All right. His face gets very cold and very poker face. And he says, all right, I wouldn't want you to do something that you couldn't live with, Ida. Um, I have told you numerous times that the Yuan-Ti are demons made flesh, a perversion of human beings. There is nothing redeemable about them. That being said, I don't want you to bear the burden of something unfortunate happening to her. So we will hand her over. All right, and she kind of looks like she's wavering a bit, but she says, "Sometimes what's right is not always what's best or what's smartest.
No.
It is a weakness of mine, but I will stand by it." And you could kind of hear like just the just a release of breath from like Sigma Snake Eyes over there. And then Gellin just kind of scoffs and says, "All you've done is buy yourself time. There's nothing you can do to avoid the fate that you have written for yourself, Sigma." All right. Um, if Daniel's available, and if any of you can help me, I would like to deliver her now rather than later to the prison. And please take my offer, take our offer back to the rest of your crew. Let whatever new crew, and he raises a bushy eyebrow at you and then winks, you managed to pick up since commandeering the vessel know that as privateers, all sins are forgiven. A fresh slate is being passed around. That might help you a bit with recruitment.
That sounds lovely.
But also know that we are not slavers ourselves. You are free to choose your own way. But, I mean, you know, if you're not privateers, you better get ready to pay them dock fees and all that other stuff. And, you know, uh, again, we're not trying to influence your decision one way or the other, but some choices are better than others. But again, please take some time, think it over, recuperate, restock, rest, and then if you don't do it for us, and you might as well do it for us because we'll pay you. Please go and find out what's happening with our neighbors in the swamps. All right. So all that being said, yeah, let's drop her off. Unless there's anything else anyone has to add.
I'm totally fine with the offer. I think that seems great, especially being from Saltmarsh and stuff.
Cool, cool.
Agreed.
Yeah. Can we just say that we take that offer
Yeah.
now?
Sorry, Haxel, are you?
You could certainly take it, and then tell Hexel about it later. I kind of thought, RP wise, like
Yeah.
I'll internalize, meta, obviously, whatever your decision is. But I kind of thought you guys would kind of float the offer past the other members of the crew, and then like you basically already have true diplomacy, deciding it, but it would be a bit more honorable to at least float the idea past everyone before you
Oh yeah,
agree
I
to
just
it.
got
Sort of
back,
thing.
so
Sure.
yeah.
Yeah. I
Okay.
agree.
So as you guys are making your way through the town, it is raining a crazy, crazy hard. And you guys are making your way through the streets of Saltmarsh, heading towards the prison. All right. Does anybody have anything to say or do, or do you just kind of make your way through the town and it is what it is, sort of thing?
I think it will probably behoove us to spread the word along that anybody that was with us originally, that they can join us with, and their sins, kind of be forgiven.
Totally. Yep.
Toothless opens his like big mouth open to the sky and just drinks in the water.
All right. So you guys go through the town, and as you do, we're gonna take a 5-minute break so everybody can
Nice.
refresh their drinks and all that jazz. Okay.
Cool. Sounds good.
Dang it, I just had a break. What happened? Well, I guess no, don't repeat it. I'll just listen back to the recording because I'm recording it.
No, I got it.
Do people have opinions on talking to her about the Scarlet Brotherhood? While we still have them?
Ida? Didn't we already tell her about it?
Did we?
I think the first time we did? Or didn't we?
Okay.
Because she told us to go to the house and we found the thing, then we came back and we're like, oh no, everyone knows.
But about how the Scarlet Brotherhood was like selling the weapons to the lizard folk.
Oh, you know what we didn't say? We didn't say that.
And
Yeah,
working
that
with,
I don't recall. Yeah.
We didn't say
Working with
that
Sigma.
Sigma was selling those slaves to the Scarlet Brotherhood. That's when we didn't mention. We should probably mention that.
Okay, well, why don't you?
Oh, next time. Do we want to go try and find those people, or do we just want to beeline to lizard folk? I think we still need to crew up and fix the ship. So that might take like in game like a day or two. I'd rather it be completely fixed because we still have that hole in the bottom that Crash said might break if something happened.
Yeah. So how injured is our ship at this point? I mean, unless we think we're gonna die going up, which hopefully isn't the case. I think I would be inclined to try and just like get up the coast. But if we're at like 20 of like 300 ship health, then it's kind of silly.
Yeah, it's got like 200 health, but we've taken like 60 damage, maybe?
I mean, we have
We took
Yeah, I guess
40 damage.
maybe
I
it
think we took
depends.
40 damage.
Well, we got really lucky the first time
may-
and you rolled a bunch of ones and it was like 12, and then after that it was 40.
So maybe it depends on how quickly we can actually get crew. Right, like if we can get crew, we can like leave within like, I don't know, 5 hours.
Yeah.
I was thinking we get crew when we got back. Unless we're set, because we can't sail there. We have to like, so we have to figure out how we're getting all the guns out there too.
Not just on the boat with us,
Yeah.
They said the boat couldn't go out there.
I'm saying we
but after
fix
it
the
gets
boat and
fixed.
then we go. And I'm saying, like, do we want to do anything in the meantime while that's getting fixed?
Oh, he said it was like all shallows, and we like couldn't. It was like dangerous and all that other stuff.
We just buy carriage.
Okay.
And
Oh, so we might. Well,
well, I guess
carriage
how
probably
far
can't
can
go-
we kind of like take the big boat up, and then we can at least maybe get a jolly boat if we don't have like the original one.
Well, I mean, we asked him last time. He said it was like a war zone, so. It
Oh
wouldn't be
yeah,
the
you're right.
greatest idea. Yeah, I mean, otherwise, I'm all for sailing, but I don't know if that's the safest.
Well, if we're worried about the ship, if we still need to get crew, I guess we could just go on foot, yeah. And we could just leave the ship here. See what's what,
Yeah,
and
and
then
we have
come
like
back.
we might be able to catch up with the circus on the way. I'm not sure.
Oh my
I'm not sure how
gosh.
Pistoleria is about that.
Oh,
yeah.
But I'm.
yeah, and we have like a ranger to like help us kind of get through the marshes. I'm guessing, so hopefully it's not too bad.
I'll be right
Yeah.
back.
Yeah,
One second.
Illyria, are you in
Huh?
full on like murder mode right now, or do you want to bring the lizard folk back first?
They're here for one more day, right?
We are.
Those people? No.
He said that that
the-
since it was raining so hard, he thought that they would just pack up and leave first thing in the morning.
I don't know. I guess it just depends on what everyone else wants to do.
I mean,
I would want.
Toothless would definitely go after them and would prefer to do it outside of town.
Yeah, outside town.
But like 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 a mile away to scare any other horrible circus performer who would come through.
So, why don't we? They said they would pay us to help us offload some of the goods in town. Maybe we offload some of the goods in town. We buy enough stuff to take the guns and stuff on foot.
Yeah.
And maybe swing by.
And we like, if there are any of the crew that we find that seem like they want to come back to the ship, ask if they have any friends that would like to join. Maybe we'll have a crew like waiting for us by the time we get back.
Aye.
True.
Yeah, and have them get like all preparations done for getting under.
Yeah,
Yeah, because doesn't the ship need like a couple more days of getting fixed too?
That sounds like a good idea, because if we go now...
Depends on rolls.
Yeah, if we go now with the ship, the Sahaugen probably attack us, and then it might get more damage, and then...
Yeah.
We could just have a brand new ship when we get back. Ready to go.
Yeah, no, I like it.
I mean, I do want to question the Saugen, but maybe we can go down to the water from inland after we drop off the lizard people.
Okay.
Yeah.
We might have to hire some repair people though.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, that seems like a thing that if they're paying like dock fees and everything, we could get that taken care of like while gone.
All right, so we're gonna repair the ship. We're gonna kind of get ready to go visit the lizard people. More or less.
Are the lizard people on the boat still? So I guess we should go back to Thogrim and Haxel and tell them what our offer is.
Well, and we got guns.
Yeah. So, everybody ready to keep going?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you guys make your way through the raining, the pounding rain. It's like 2 a.m. or something. The rain is that heavy, cold rain that saturates down to your socks and undergarments and just clings to you.
Gross.
Yeah, it is terrible. As you guys are making your way through the rain, it's hard to kind of hear each other and see things like that. The town is cold, dark, wet. Normally there are lanterns lit, but the rain is so hard and so heavy that it has gotten up inside a lot of the lanterns, and caused the oil lamps to sort of sputter and go out. So the town is very dark. Very, very creepy. You make it to the prison, which is location, I believe, 2 on your town map. And yeah, Gellin says, all right, Daniel and I could take it from here. Um, if the rest of you could take Owlin back to her place, I'd appreciate it.
Absolutely.
I
Yeah.
A lot of people are going missing. I don't want anything to happen to that old woman.
will keep her very safe.
And as you go to leave, he kind of steps closer, so that maybe Daniel's too far in the rain to hear. And he says, shit happens and the world is a messy place. Often, to get the results that you need, unsavory things have to happen. Ida, despite living in this city, despite the life that she's had, despite a brief career as an adventurer, despite wealth and the corruption that might have come with that, despite it all, she's the best person I know. I ask that whatever you do, especially whatever you do in our service moving forward, that you try to keep her clean of whatever transpires. If you get a little dirty, I am here to help wash your hands. But I do not want her hands soiled, if at all possible.
I shake his hand.
All
Yes,
right.
who
I mean,
wants dirty
I
fingers when you're eating with your paws, as we would say.
no, I mean I look up at him and I'm like I don't know her story yet, but I can see that you admire her, and I also do, and I will do my best to keep her spotless in all of this.
She and I make a good team because one knows what's right and one is very well versed in what is wrong. Um, we need people working for us that can walk the line between that. I think that you can be those people. I am eager to hear back from you. But come, it is late. I promised my wife breakfast, so um, I have to finish up here. All right, so he kind of heads back up the steps of the prison,
Cool.
leaving you guys in the rain. So, you guys take Owlin home?
Yeah.
All right. She asks about Daniel. You inform her Daniel, is is dropping off the prisoner, all that jazz. Um, Despite her energy, now that everything is over, she is a very tired 65-year-old woman. And she does stumble a few times on the walk back to her house. So, like, it's definitely she's definitely pushed that old lady body pretty hard tonight, with all the excitement and the plot bombs and the lizard man hugs and all the surprises and the espionage. The owl is quite tired.
Yeah, and if she'll accept it, Toothless would definitely give her.
Uh, yeah, she kind of blushes a bit and she just says, I thank you. I appreciate it.
This one welcomes you.
I hope that we can give the same support to your people that you have been giving to us, Toothless.
Yes, one can hope.
My father spoke of the sea devils, and whenever he did, it was only after several drinks. could he muster the courage to even bring them up? It is a horrible ordeal that your people are going through, if it truly is as bad as it seems.
Well, I appreciate you. And he kind of like stumbles on it and he'll say, Ada.
Okay. So you drop her off back home. Book guard is there with a replacement guard who looks very grumpy about being pulled out of bed when he was supposed to have the night off. And book guard gives sort of a nervous wave to Tari and gives Ida a hug and then kind of leads her back into the house. So it's about 3 a.m. at this point.
Oh, God.
Still raining. Druid and Ranger, it is going to be raining all day. What are you going to do?
Probably go back to the ship and then probably get a rest in and then.
Okay.
Yeah, we should definitely go back to the ship. I like that.
Yeah. All right. You guys head back to the ship. Back at the ship. I'm so sorry, you two. I feel like you've had to just listen to a podcast all night. Back at the ship. Oh, do you it's kind of late at night. Do you raid Illyria's alcohol supply or use her spare key to get into Thogram's place? Because he did ask you to bring back alcohol for his boys.
Oh, I don't have alcohol
Okay.
in the house.
Yeah, Thugram's like stomping around the boat.
Where's my alcohol?
I feel like he would have known that though. That I don't drink.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, are you guys so like
Where's
BFF that you would have a spare
Krebs'
key to his house?
Well, didn't he give
Do I
you
have a
money
spare
to
key
buy
now?
something?
Yeah,
Well,
but it's
yeah,
super
it's-
late, so
Yeah.
But Krebs' place might still be
Oh
open.
yeah.
Yeah, but Krebs' place is all the way across the canal over here.
Okay.
Yeah, number 8. So
I know where his Heidi key is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Do I?
Yeah.
There's
All right, I'll go
there's
in there
a
and get-
rock. There's a rock that looks so much like a rock that it's almost like uncanny reality. He crafted this rock, this fake rock, so well that it looks too real compared to the other rocks that it's next to. And
I'll go to grab it, but then like turn around and like look at them. I'll be like, you guys turn around. Turn around.
I turn around.
Turn around. You know what's really if the key is like hidden like inside the rock and you break it and then he mends it all the time to like keep the key inside.
Oh,
Wouldn't that be
that
dope?
would be so hype.
So she knows
Oh,
to like
man.
break
It's
it.
not even
and
locked.
okay.
All right, so Thogram, to get into your personal biz, what does Thogram's house look like? I know you've described it before as being meticulous, right? But I don't think we got too. Everyone kind of pictured it as being a bit fastidious, right? But beyond that, like, what is Thogram's house? If there was an establishing shot of your house,
I would assume you'd walk in, there'd be a bunch of like handmade goods and or handmade type of chairs and tables and everything that looks old and weathered, but for the most part, the house is simple. You know, there's a kind of like a smaller forge, and then like little creations, like a table with like odds and ends all over it, like doodads and whatnot, like
nice.
stuff put together, and then there's going to be like a cupboard with nothing but like alcohol in it,
And tea.
just random types.
Whiskey tea.
Yeah.
All right, so you grab what you assume would be appropriate for 3 dwarves to share.
I'll actually ask the group like, what would you guys want to drink? Because I have no idea. So
What is the alcohol situation at your house, Thogram? Is it well stocked? Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
There'll be a bunch of different kinds, and no
Okay.
matter what, she's going to grab like the most expensive kind, and he's going to be super heated.
Okay.
I'm gonna grab the one that looks like with the pretty label,
Oh.
because that's not how I choose stuff now. Whatever has the prettiest label, that's what I'm choosing, and then I'll tell the others to grab a bottle.
Okay.
As well.
Yeah, there's the Felbar Reserve, and it depicts a beautiful fortress in front of like a mountain, just a soaring mountainscape behind it, and the artistry on the line art for the label is just stunning. The bottle itself is this thick, dark glass. Everything about it is fancy.
Yeah, I'll grab that one.
All right. Okay. So she's got your 400 gold piece bottle of alcohol that's been passed down in your family for generations. Got it. All right. But it's nice. It's a good one. It's a good one. All right. So you arrive back at the ship. You have the alcohol in hand. See, I didn't forget you. I didn't forget you, Thagrum. I thought about your alcohol all week. So you guys get back to the ship, and Haxel, you go ahead and give me an insight check, Haxel, as they approach.
Yes, hoist the anchor
Okay,
sail. We
yeah.
gotta get out of here.
Yeah, so I gotta ask, Haskell, have you waited up all night? Have you been working on the ship? Have you been trying to get some sleep? I could picture Haxel being a bit restless. Is that about right? Like with the situation, or
Yeah, I'm kind of just trying to get to know the ship really well, going through the charts and the notes, any logs, manifests, crew
Gotcha.
reports. I'm also trying to work out like the budgetary concerns.
Yeah, it's
And help
as
in any
you
way.
as you've seen, as you've seen, and as you remember, having lost everything before. It is a very expensive endeavor. It is very hard uh, to start making money, and that's why a lot of people turn to smuggling, because an honest life of shipping is it's rough. It's rough in Fantasyland, where like sea monsters and shit are gonna sink your boat. It is a lot. Yeah, it's a lot harder to make an honest living in the shipping trade than even real world medieval fantasy or real world medieval times. Fantasy times is it's even crazier. You do know that one of the secrets to success is securing a ship wizard, and you don't have one, but you do have yourself, which is pretty good. And Tari definitely has some spells at her disposal, and you have made some very powerful allies. So you don't have a dedicated ship wizard, but you definitely have a lot of powerful allies that could fill a lot of roles that are needed on the ship. So that might be fortuitous. As you're kind of going over the books and crunching the numbers, the hours kind of while away. Dwarves, do you guys work through the night on these repairs, dwarf style, or are you going to try to catch some sleep?
So they're just gonna work until they basically pass out, and there's just gonna be like we're just gonna be passed out in like a group with just
Oh,
nothing
okay,
but alcohol and hammers and nails and
gotcha. All right. You guys return, and as you do, a lone guard is standing by the ship, and the guard says, halt, halt. There's nothing to see here. This ship is for shipping chickens, and that's it. Nothing
Yeah,
else.
we don't see it either.
Oh, and he touches his nose. He says, I see. Carry on then, spirits of the night. And he just sort of walks past you.
And I'll just surreptitiously slip a gold piece. Not too
Okay.
surreptitiously, but
Yeah. He
a little
surreptitiously
gold piece into his
sticks it
pocket.
right in his back pocket. Yeah. All right. So you guys are back at the ship. You're all reunited. There's a dwarven cuddle puddle kind of forms. They're just sort of like three hamsters. They're just kind of like
yeah.
on top of each other, in and out of each other's beards. It's super adorable, but also very manly. Yeah. So that's the situation going on there. You see that there is a light in the captain's cabin. Um, just a flicker of candlelight, as it were. Dark vision is great, but not so much for paperwork. That's how you end up with glasses. Yeah, so all the races that have dark vision do actually use light sources and shit. Because living your life in dim light is obnoxious. Skull can tell you we do it every Tuesday. It is miserable. Um, yeah, when we actually have a light source, we're almost blinded as players because we're so used to the whole dungeon being like on dark vision. It's crazy. But yeah, so what do you guys do? You break the news to them. You let them know everything that happens. You wake Thogrim up, or do you just kind of wait till morning? What's the plan?
I would basically kind of like march over to Haxel, where I would assume is kind of where the candlelight is coming from.
Mm-hmm.
And I think kind of give him the lowdown and let Thogrim sleep for a little bit.
Okay.
Are you guys on a map?
No, we're all still. It's all been theater of the mind.
Oh, okay.
Yep. So I mean, it's
So-
a beautiful landing page at least. But
It is very
yeah,
useful.
yeah. It's just yeah. You guys haven't gone anywhere yet.
So it's been eventful, Haxel, but we obviously can still go visit the lizard folk. There are these circus people who seem to be causing problems, and there's about 38 other things we could also deal with.
4 missing people, gnolls on the
Sounds good.
road.
Yeah, exactly.
Causing problems. Cats and
Sounds
dogs
good. I'll
living together.
I'll get very excited about all the information. I assume that you're telling me, and yeah, and I'll tell you anything I learned about the ship and when we can expect repairs to be completed. And yeah, we can start making preps to go to the swamps.
All right. Now, again, the area north of Saltmarsh is a war zone. However, full disclosure, you would get to the lizard folks' homeland really fast by ship. But unlike the other group, you guys have a ranger, so you could get there pretty damn fast by land too.
Yeah, if we really want to get there.
So yeah, for you guys, it's kind of a win-win situation.
If we get there equal time, if we're worried about this Haugen attacking us in our ship, maybe we don't take it, we just go over land, and we just get like a cart or something to take the guns with us.
Now a cart Toothless and Illyria, a cart in the swamp is not going to work so hot, honestly.
I would agree.
Yeah, swamps are dirty. No, I'm not trying to be mean. They're not dirty, nasty, but they kind of are. The problem is it's mostly water. Is the thing. There are islands of like mud and muck and solid bits and rotted vegetation, but for the most part, it's mostly water. Like whether it's a foot of water or 20 feet of water. I mean, it is, yeah. Even the forests are what a lot of people would call a flooded forest. So like there's just standing water like everywhere. Like it's a very wet place. I mean, it's the estuary of a river, like basically. So there's just it's going to be very hard. Now, Tensor's floating disc, that's another story. That's like a hoverboard. So if you guys had access to that, for example,
how about the trolley boat? Could that navigate in there or no? If we rode it,
if you could do canoes if you wanted to, and then that would actually be pretty smart because you could walk the canoes, and then you could use them to get through the deeper parts of the water. That would be pretty optimal actually way to explore the swamplands.
There's one thing we did.
How many canoes are we talking about to fit all of? How many guns do we have total again?
There was
80-ish?
Yeah, there was quite a few, couple crates full. Yeah.
I was gonna say we also found a map where they were planning to rendezvous with the lizard folk to do the trade. We did get that.
That's true.
map. Where does that take us? Is that directly in the swamp, or is it like
Toothless. Is you look at the swamp, you're probably the most familiar with the more wild areas of the swamp. You realize that the location on the map indicates sort of an abandoned like keep, like that some softskins must have had at some point that didn't work out for them, kind of thing. So it's sort of an abandoned keep that's sort of sunk into the marsh a bit. Um, Seems to be the area that they are indicating on the map.
So it doesn't seem like we're going to be able to get a ship into there.
Now, that being said, the settlement that these other lizard folk live in is very close to the coast. So it would be pretty easy to sail up and then hop in a jolly boat and zip right up to the settlement.
I don't want to lose the boat, you guys.
Yeah, I'd just rather not.
I'm fine with canoes.
Yeah, canoes are good. Why don't we'll do canoes?
Okay.
Unless anyone strongly objects.
No, I mean, if we can take a canoe the whole way there and it makes sense fiscally, then why not?
Can we get our canoes from like one of those like shitty beach rental places and just like take them? Like fuck you.
I mean, there's definitely not like a good tourism situation for Dunwater Marsh. One, because the lizard folk kill and eat anyone that come into their territory. Two, trolls. And three, well, I really don't need anything after that. Those two are pretty good deterrents for why people don't want to go into the swamps. But the grocery list of reasons you don't want to go in the swamp is pretty big. So yeah, but canoes are readily available and they are cheap. At least in my opinion, they are cheap. They are 50 gold a piece for a canoe.
My God. How so? We're probably gonna need. What is it? Was it 5 crates? How many crates?
Of guns?
Well, like how many
gosh.
canoes are we gonna need? I don't need another crate.
Canoe can hold 6 medium creatures. So you guys could probably get by with two canoes. Basically, like you could do like 3 and 3. I know you always have. I feel like Series 1 Critical Role with a certain armored bear, but you do have to account for Spencer. You wouldn't want Spencer to be swimming next to the canoe, and then something pulls him under, and then you have the trauma of that. I mean, admittedly, she could just like revive him with her love or whatever, but
Yeah.
you know, people remember all the times they die. I'm going to be honest. Yeah, it's nobody likes to think about that when they keep sending their familiar off to get meat grinded. But you know, being killed all the time, it does kind of wear you out. It does kind of wear you out.
I have a question. Could I use my channel divinity, Artisan's Blessing?
To make your
a
own
canoe?
canoes? Yeah. You would, essentially just need like wood, essentially, like a quality ass piece of lumber would be good. Because basically you could craft anything as if you had the tools and you spent like half the material cost, right?
Up to 100 gold.
It's
Something.
yeah, it's
Well, it's like Full Metal Alchemist, right? Like you
Yeah.
do like a conversion from one to the other. So, like for the purposes, if you made a canoe yourself, right? The crafting rules in D&D are you can make things at half the listed value if you make it yourself. So I would say with 25 gold of lumber, like to represent that you had the quality lumber you needed, you could definitely do it. So your ability, not only would you not have to make any checks for it, it would cost you half as much to make just about anything. So, does that sound good, or do you just want to find a tree and be like, "Bam, you're a canoe"?
I'm not sure if it just says I just have to have the material.
Okay.
And I can make anything worth about 100, up to 100 gold.
All right. Cool.
But it has to have some metal in it.
Oh, yeah. Canoes usually. Yeah. I mean. Yeah. I don't know about. I mean, you could make a metal canoe. I guess that's a real thing.
Well, it'd be like metal banding around it, maybe some support.
Yeah.
Together like a metal barrel.
Yeah.
Why don't we compromise so that you're literally not minting 100 gold a day, because then everyone would just play a forge cleric and the economy of the realms would fall to pieces, and say that you could make the canoes using your ability. It'll just be 25 gold instead of 50 gold. and then you'll know that you made them. They're quality. They've got iron bands to support them. The whole deal. Like they're magically crafted. You don't have to worry about buying a shoddy one from a merchant or any of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, because that seems like a pretty good compromise. Is there a limit to the size of the canoes that you can make,
It
or?
just so there's the only thing it says to create simple items. So would you consider a canoe a simple item?
I honestly would consider a canoe a simple item. But given that is a pretty, it's again, it's not a super valuable, expensive thing for adventurers to pay for, but it's a fancy enough thing that like let's just compromise on. You can get 2 canoes for 50 gold in supplies, and they are Thogrum brand canoes. So they're quality, Forge Cleric made, the whole deal. So they're light, easy to carry, sturdy. This is some good stuff.
Oh, you're gonna like these canoes. I guarantee it.
Yeah. So actually, you do bring up a good point that a rudimentary, simplest canoe is just a hollowed out tree trunk. I think the one they're talking about in the equipment guide for adventuring gear is
I'm just kidding.
yeah, it's a bit fancier than that. And obviously, the one Thogrum is making is dynamite. All right, good stuff. Essentially, he's making like a metal reinforced like rowboats, but
Cargo canoe.
Yeah, they're still somehow canoes. Yeah, I got you. Flat bottom boat sort of situation. I like it. All right, so that's what you're going to work on. Cool. Are you guys going to do your own repairs on the ship? And if you are you going to stick around to do that? Do you want to take some downtime? Like, do you guys want to take like a few days or even a week to catch your breath and take care of your personal business in town and get the ship repaired and make canoes and make preparations? Again, you don't have to feel like I mean, you might, but you don't have to feel that there's this urgency to do this thing. Like the lizard folk are not being run into extinction. They said that they've been basically fending off the attackers, but they wanted the weapons to drive off the attackers. So it's not that they're like, if we don't get these weapons, we will die. It's like we need a way to have superior strength to push these attackers out. Yeah.
Oh, okay, then.
I think we want to get on the road, but we'd like to hire a couple workers.
Okay.
2 more workers that could specialize in craft ship.
Okay. So you want to hire 2 more workers. Now you want to hire them on permanently, or you want to just hire some people to run repairs while the ship is in dock and damaged? Because people with skills, they want to be compensated well for those skills. Whereas like your more basic employees, like the crew that you have now that you inherited from the previous ship, they are very happy to make their 1 gold a day, and that's that. But people that have a bit more talent and a bit more skill, craftsmen, tradesmen, things like that, they are definitely they know that they're in demand, and they're gonna expect more compensation for their services.
I'm good with contracting if you guys are.
Well, as part of the whole like freelancer kind of thing, like, will they not help us out with the repairs?
Oh, if you guys agree to be privateers and stuff?
Yeah.
I am sure that Prime Water is human. Humans only live 80 to 90 years. So they, as a species, like to get shit done. Yeah, they like to get shit done. You know what I'm saying? So he would be like, downtime, that's for babies. And he would be like, let's get you guys, it's what you need, and get you back on the road, kind of thing. Like that's Prime Water's attitude. And Ida is a human who is 65 years old, so she's definitely like, yeah, whatever you need, get going. Now Prime Water and Ida are both business folk, so they would more than likely invoice you guys for repairs and then justify that as coming out of your net pay for each month or whatever. They would say, oh well, you would have made this much money this month, but we had to repair your ship this many times and blah blah blah
Yeah,
blah.
yeah, it's a good fallback.
Like don't for a second think that you've inherited like overly indulgent stepfather and grandmother. Like that's these people got rich by being frugal with their money.
True.
Yeah.
That's another good question.
And,
Did the people how many of the people we sent out that night come back? The crew.
that is a great
Because you
question.
just mentioned
That is-
like if we can have them work on it. If we're not gonna take them, then if
Yeah.
any of them at all came back.
Well, you said that you wanted to get the word out to them that they that you would be that their quote unquote sins would be forgiven, blank slate kind of thing. I think if you could get that information to them before morning, that would probably get every single one of them on your side. Because a lot of times amnesty is all it takes for pirates to be like, aye, Captain. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, if you could communicate to that to them, then for sure. Otherwise, I would probably just roll for each of them and see where they fall on
I
that.
think Haxel would probably take a walk down to Krebs, where that most people would also would have
Okay.
gone, and try to bend that whole like
Yeah.
that 2 days where the captain's actually nice.
Do you want to just take the jolly boat over there since his thing's on the water and
Yeah.
it's
Cool.
on the other side of the canal? That way you don't have, and you're already going to get soaking wet anyways. That way you don't have to like slog through the mud soaked town to get there, sort of thing. All right. Yeah. So you
I
guys
invite
sail,
anyone.
you guys sail on up. You tie off your jolly boat. You climb up the little ladder to his establishment, and people like Kreb, they love weather like this because people are forced to stay inside and they're bored, so they drink. So it is 4 a.m. though, and normally it would be pretty dead. But when you show up, the crew, as it were, is there, and they are rowdy. They are still rowdy, and they are basically celebrating not being killed, not having to work for a crazy Yuanti anymore. Um, uh, they may have dropped this that they work for a bunch of softies now. We could do whatever we want, et cetera, et cetera. They also may have tossed out there that the future is a blank book. We're going to write our own story. They also mentioned that they survived the Kraken's teeth. You know how sailors do when they're drinking. They're pretty much telling the whole damn story. So as you come in, Shanker kind of looks over at you, and he looks tired. He's a nocturnal guy, but apparently your crew has worn him out a bit. And he just kind of looks over at you, Haxel, and whoever came with Haxel, and he just kind of motions at your people.
I just want to kind of give him a smile back, like, yeah, those are my people. And I want to drop like, I don't know, 5 gold in the bar. Open it up.
Okay. Yeah. The buxom yet angry dwarven woman who normally runs the bar, she kind of grunts, and the coins quickly disappear. And she just says, "Aye, you hear that? That's the sound of your captain taking care of you." And they all just huzzah! They all kind of cheer. And she gives you like a nod, like a "you're welcome" kind of nod. And Kreb kind of looks over at you and gives a similar nod. And he seems to be sort of like have his lute out, and he's just kind of strumming a bit in the background, upbeat, kind of merry music, even though it is very late hours. And he just says, with a big smile, he says, "Oh, the stories that I have heard tonight. Sounds like you had quite a time."
That was nothing compared to the last time I saw you, but Yeah,
Ah,
we were successful in our voyages.
good, good. Yeah. So I think you might have the makings of a crew here. Some of them seem to be, I'm gonna say, wisely on the fence. And he gives you a big smile as he says that. And some of them may have been offered some competitive rates with another employer. And he kind of cocks an eyebrow when he says that.
Hmm. Prime
Mm.
water.
Well, I mean, he does own an entire fleet of ships. He does need people to operate those ships.
All right. Well, that's good to know.
I mean,
We'll
you're
see
not the
who
only
comes
you're not
back.
the only ship in the harbor, you know. Um, my
What
my
is that?
job as a headhunter is to hunt them heads, and these were heads worth hunting. No offense, I didn't see your name on them, but they seem to think pretty highly of you guys. Apparently, you completely bamboozled and then rolled their entire crew. Yet somehow had the diplomatic grace not to wholesale slaughter a bunch of lizard men. You might want to talk to them about what kind of news they're broadcasting or not. But I'm pretty sure everybody that was in here tonight was completely out of their minds. So nobody paid too much attention.
Yeah, I'll take that under advisement. Thank you.
Hmm.
I'll talk to them in the morning when they come stumbling back. Could you make sure they come stumbling back?
Yeah. Is there anything you want me to tell them? You offering more competitive rates than our local friendly neighborhood humanitarian businessman?
I am. I need a total of four, 14 people.
Hmm.
So
And you
I think I
do you
might
do
already
you
have.
trust old Shanker to fill your ranks for you? Do you want to do this yourself? Because I got people. I got plenty of people.
Are they all on drugs?
I mean, that's not my business. This is a free town. We don't have
Oh, it isn't now. It is.
yeah,
All right.
we don't have any messy laws about substance abuse here in Saltmarsh. We understand, and he says with a huge smile, that addiction is a disease, not a crime.
Hmm.
Mm. And it's also very
All right.
profitable.
Yeah, Axel just kind of looks around, um, and then focuses
But
back in
yeah,
on Craig.
man, I could hit up old Crabber's Cove and fill your ship real fast. And as he says Crabber's Cove, this image comes to mind.
Eh.
Ugh.
Sweet.
What?
I tug on Haxel's sleeve and I ask him, Haxel, do you want to make a sort of general announcement about amnesty and all that if they come back?
Yeah. Can I? Do I have to do that? Yeah, I will. I'll just kind of say, hey, if you guys come back, if you guys want to come back, we could use you. Uh, we don't really need to be picky on each other's histories. It's just forge a new future.
All right.
And I'll try
Your
to help him to the extent that he's persuading.
yeah, your friend Great Tits the Lookout. She looks at you and she says, "What does that mean?"
So we've gotten some clearance to do some work that I think everyone will enjoy, and I think it'll be a lot of fun, very profitable, and I don't think we need to really go into what we've done in the past.
Ah, I see what you're saying, but I guess my question is what we've been doing in the past, is that going to be causing us some problems in the future if we stick around this lovely little shithole?
I certainly wouldn't tell anyone anything that they don't need to know. but I don't think.
I see. It's definitely something to consider, I suppose. This work you're saying that we'd all enjoy so much, does it involve drinking, fucking killing, and looting?
Absolutely, yes.
She kind of looks at the others, and they all kind of look at her. And then a certain gentleman with peacock blue hair says, will Tari be there?"
I go
Yeah,
look at Tari.
I wink at him and I say I wouldn't miss it for the world.
"Oh, I'd like to sign on, Captain." And he goes to stand, and he just falls over. All right. So yeah, they seem very interested. Very interested. And it does occur to you that, given the events of the evening, it would be impossible for Gellin Primewater to have offered these people jobs personally. So what Shanker is basically doing is he is a headhunter that works for Primewater. So he, of course,
Got it.
was like, "Oh, if you're looking for work and that's just part of his job, one of his many hats that he wears."
I'm gonna go up to Tits and kind of.
Ask her if she has a name.
Nah. She has a name.
She has a
and
name.
Dedicated players would know what it is. I want to player shame
It's Sly.
right now.
It's Sly
I guarantee
something.
Skull. Yeah, see, Skull knows what her name is. Best boy. 20 points to Gryffindor.
Nice work.
Slytherin.
Yeah, he's definitely more of a Slytherin for sure. But maybe Captain Haxel's trying to slither into some breaches.
Theodosa,
Yeah.
Sly Web.
I would.
Name is Theo.
No, but I will ask her,
Theo Sly.
since she was the first one who spoke up. I'm going to ask her if she could tell her we're stepping away for a little bit. Repairs should be underway starting tomorrow. Just keep an eye on the crew and keep an eye on the ship.
She places her blistered fingers from like a life at sea and climbing ropes and everything, but dexterous, against her ample lookout bosom, and she says, "This sounds a bit like first mate duties."
Sounds like a trial for first mate.
Oh, well, challenge accepted then, Captain. I will
I'm just going to nod.
do my best. And
Thank
she
you.
says that, and her eyes kind of close a little bit, and you can tell that they have been drinking hard since you dropped them off. So
No one's going to remember any of this.
pirates kind of they're like high functioning alcoholics. They really do like a great job when they're drunk, I think. So I think you kind of have to be to function at some point with some of the stuff they had to get up to. All right. So it seems like the seeds were planted for crew here. Shanker is, of course, willing to headhunt for you. He will inevitably charge you for the services, but he will find you a crew. If you want bottom of the barrel rates, he could get you a crew tomorrow from Crabber's Cove. If you actually want skilled people that know what they're doing and are badasses, he will have to hit up the Mariners Guild. You can see there's a distinct difference between the two. The two different places. And he will hit up the Mariners Guild and find you. He says with a huge smile, "The best fuckers on land and sea."
I just want to go there to that thing right there. That place. Oh my gosh. Sorry.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
How long will the better crew take?
Oh man, money is the grease in the great machine. Am I right, Mr. Gond Priest over there? Huh? or did you stay with the ship?
No, I'm still on the ship.
Oh, okay, okay. All right. Well, as your buddy Thogrum would say, the big machine of progress is greased with currency. So depends on how fast you want them is how much money you're willing to spend. But again, this is a town for fishing and shipping. So competitive. It's a competitive market. Uh, let me just put it that way. So I could fill your ship with shit, or I could fill your ship with sailors, depending on the time and the money you want to sink into it. On
Why
that
don't we?
note,
Yeah.
if you have like a wish list of the types of people you're looking for, that's what a Mariners Guild Hall is all about. You might also consider, I don't know, becoming members. It's not a bad idea.
And could we find those members here, or would we have to kind of go outside of the community? I would assume outside.
Outside of what, Saltmarsh? Or
Yeah.
outside of my bar?
Saltmarsh.
Oh no, man! Like this is a town full of sailors. Like
Oh,
people
okay.
people come here because they wanna sail. They wanna work and live the water life. You know. Yeah. Besides, like, where would you go, Daggerford? And he kind of spits onto the floor.
I don't know. I would be inclined to try and staff our ship with people from Saltmarsh.
Okay. Well, good, because that's
Alright.
where I'd be getting them from.
Yeah, and
I would say for now we should probably stick with the cheap people we have, before we try to.
Well, this
afford
is the
much
thing.
more.
If we're not gonna take the ship, then we
Yeah.
have plenty of time to worry about this later. We can decide during the week.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
Okay.
so are you not going to take the ship and we're like canoe or walk around?
Wasn't that the plan? That's why he's
It
making
sounds
the
like
Yeah.
it sounds like canoe for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you have Druidcraft, Toothless?
doesn't.
I do not.
Okay. All right. Well, like I could still let you know the weather at least for tomorrow, which may or may not change your decision on what to do. But I believe tomorrow is simply just overcast, which is not too bad. Let me see. Here we go.
Well, canoeing is totally fine with me.
Yeah. So tomorrow there's no rain, only a few clouds. There will, however, probably be a storm sometime tomorrow. The day after that is looking like completely clear, beautiful weather. So you guys might want to just take 2 days to just prepare. I don't know if you want to get caught in the swamp with a violent storm going on. Maybe you could make it all the way to the lizard folk settlement before the storm hit. But a swamp is a very dangerous place for adventurers. So I don't know if you want to combine a violent storm with swamp. But I respect your player agency. We'll run it whichever way you guys decide.
Well, put it forward now. Is it, we could wait the 2 days, just we could fast forward it, or do we want to go?
Oh yeah,
look
we
for-
would totally just we could fast forward it. You guys could handle any town business you wanted to in again, shopping in town, unless it's something super fancy. You can just kind of handle via like I buy this and I sell this at half the price, and that kind of thing.
Okay, well, I'll ask the group.
So-
That
if-
sounds good.
do we want to
I like that.
go ahead?
No, that sounds good.
So there we go.
Do we want to maybe look for some of those people? They handed us Lita had 2 flyers about missing people in. Oh, that one of them is the same swamp we're going to.
One room is. Yeah.
The other one is
We could try and go out and get the animal people.
the Knolls. Yeah, we could go take care of them
Circus.
maybe. Do something in the meantime while the
Good.
ship's getting repaired, and then we're finding crew, and then we still just go canoe there, and then we come back. I just want to fight something.
you-
I just want to fight something.
Yeah.
Did you mean the guy that had Spencer? That guy?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
well, he's as good as that. I
Yeah,
already know
yeah.
that since you're on the tail.
We can try and track him.
With the whole
Yeah, I mean they're still they're still in town today. They would just be they're just going to pack it up and call it because the weather's going to be too bad for anybody to really come by.
Oh, well, they are going to Daggerford. We know that, so maybe we can make some kind of plan. I don't know. We should
Maybe
just...
the gnolls are.
What do you want to
attacking him?
do, Illyria, with this guy?
Maybe the gnolls attack him on the way to
Take him
town.
out.
Because like a scale merchant, as sad as it is a legitimate profession in Faerun. Like that, buying and selling of monsters. Monsters do not have rights. There is no meta, or sorry,
Oh, I got it. We got it. No
yeah,
meta.
feed them, pet them, yeah, pet them. There you go.
That was good.
Yeah, so druids care about monsters, but they're often kind of thought of as druids. You guys are crazy. You live in the woods and you turn into trees. Like you don't get a say in this kind of thing. Emerald Enclave is the most organized druid organization, and they spend most of their time worrying about fighting aberrations, intrusions from the far realm, what they view as like big problems. Very rarely do they get involved with like, oh, you have these monsters. What are you doing? You can't have monsters fight in an arena. That's not fair. They have bigger battles to fight and deal with essentially. So yeah, monsters. Yeah, monsters on the whole. And Toothless could probably attest, monstrous races don't have the same rights and the same freedoms that intelligent humanoids do.
Aye.
So that is something you have to consider. Like if you had aggressions towards this guy, like that is the same in the eyes of the Sword Coast. That is the same as just having aggressions against a cattle farmer, or just just anybody that's just buying and selling livestock. Like they don't.
Like, yeah, you're suggesting maybe murdering him? Maybe we can just teach him a lesson? We don't have to just start just
Well, as
deciding
I mean,
to try and
No,
kill people.
it's frustrating for sure, and definitely some of the injuries that you saw on Spencer were from longer term abuse, not just like the caravan got attacked or whatever. So like this guy's probably not like kind to his creatures, but I mean that's just like in real life, if you went to the farmer's market and there's a dude selling like, puppies from his puppy mill, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you shanked him at the farmer's market, you would get arrested. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's the same idea. Like this guy is not a criminal, but dealing with him superhero style would be a criminal act.
Yeah.
Which again, I don't go in for alignment. If you guys if you guys are down for it, that's cool. I just need to let you guys know legally where you would be standing.
Yeah, I'm all for teaching him a lesson. We don't have to like...
well, he did lose a very big prized possession, so.
Yeah, well, it's
True.
still on the table. Like, they're not gone yet. They're leaving for Daggerford today, so that means they'll probably be in Daggerford for a couple days if we want to visit Daggerford. And, I don't know.
And you guys might consider getting some sleep today.
I was gonna say, we haven't rested.
If you go, it's like 4:30 in the morning. So if you keep going hard like this, you're gonna end up with exhaustion. So, you may want to crash for a bit before you continue on your way.
And maybe
Yeah,
the gnolls.
I'll take a sleep.
Yeah, I think
I mean,
Yeah.
you could certainly look for the gnolls. Honestly, you could offer up your services as guards for hire to the festival. That would give you an excuse to be out on the road looking for the gnolls. That would give Illyria a chance to at least look this turtle in the eyes, since it seems to have affected her. You know what I mean? Like, these are all things that you could kind of throw together if you wanted to. You have a lot of potential quests. I can't tell you which ones are main story quests and which ones are side quests. because that's the joy of Dungeons and Dragons, is kind of figuring things out. But ultimately, the one that is pretty obviously a story one is the lizard folk, which you guys already know about.
Yeah, and I think as long as we don't delay that storyline, which it sounds like we have a day,
Mm-hmm.
Toothless will do whatever anyone else wants, like whatever the party votes
Sure.
for,
Sure. Okay.
within reason.
I don't know about having them threatening him to transport guns. Like we already.
Also, it's worth mentioning that y'all's going to level up tonight after the session, because you're about to get 1,200 experience points for the last couple weeks and for completing a major quest and all the other stuff. So I think that would put you at over 27, right? 2,700, which would put you at level 4.
Just
I think I'm remembering.
70 points.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. You're totally right.
Cool. So that's also another reason that you may just want to take a day, right? It is okay to have some downtime. It is okay to catch your breath and let your characters live their life. It's sometimes when you play Sims, you can just let the Sims do their own thing. That's one of the hardest things ever as a Simmer. It's just to watch your Sims and have them kill themselves by trying to make grilled cheese. But still, sometimes it's nice to just let the characters take a day to kind of relax.
Can I kind of just like sit down with Spencer and like trance while
Yeah,
he's
sure.
sitting in front of me and kind of just like focus in on him, see what he would want to do with the bad guy that abused him.
Okay. Spencer is if animals could have alignment, Spencer is like he's just good. He's just neutral good. He's a good creature. He is a Bible tells you to turn the other cheek kind of creature. Like he has no like meanness like inside of him. At least not that he has discovered yet. Even though he is far from his homeland. He was essentially a slave. He, was drowning in those nets when you found him. He has gone on adventures with you. He has fought enemies, and like people have died for sure. And he didn't seem like overly remorseful. You didn't catch him like writing in his journal like today I killed a man.
I bit a guy's butt.
Yeah, I have to learn to live with the savagery inside my heart. It's not like that, but like very like golden retriever. You know what I'm saying? Like he's just full of love. He is full of love and forgiveness, and like you had me in a cage for like 6 months, but you must have done it for good reasons to keep me safe, and I love you. Just sort of a blind loving forgiveness is like the energy that comes off of this creature. So I don't think he would really understand why you would kill Mr. E, which is the scale merchant. I think it would be beyond his understanding of like why that would happen. And it would also be one of those like heartbreaking scenes where you have like the abused dog and you're treating it really well, but it sees its old master and it breaks your heart by like wanting to go to the old master because it has just as much love for the bad master as it does for you. And you're like, how could it be like this kind of thing? Like that's the sort of like love that Spencer has. He has an abundance of it, and it's very forgiving.
That's another thing too. If we decide to be guards for the festival, they will see him and they'll probably want him back. Like he will probably.
No, I don't.
Well, yeah.
To do that.
Yeah, so we don't have to do that. We don't have to deal with that drama.
Yeah, if I can determine that he's happy and he wouldn't want to do something like that,
I
then
mean, since
I would drop
you've
him.
met him, he has been happy. Since you came into his life, he has been happy. I think anybody that sees this dinosaur knows that it is a happy dinosaur.
Can I give him a fish?
Unequivocally, yeah. Oh yeah, he snarfs it. The guy eats like 40 pounds of food a day. So if you didn't have access to Goodberry, it would be a bad situation. So
Yeah.
yeah.
And I'll promise him to always keep him safe.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah, he just sort of like leans against you with his 800 pounds or whatever he is, 500 pounds, just kind of, and you just feel his crushing weight, and he is just making like happy kind of honking, snorting sounds. So, all right, yeah, no, some things are definitely unfair for sure. Scale merchants are definitely one of those unfair things of Fantasyland. But
Comrade.
unless you're an adventurer and you make money selling monsters to scale merchants, then they're pretty awesome. And unless you're adventurers who like to fight in arenas, then scale merchants are awesome. So you could see the dynamics there of the world. All right, what else you guys got for me? You got leveling up. Is anybody doing any funky leveling up? Is anybody like, oh man, that new UA? I want to be a tentacle warlock. Give me my
Oh, I
tentacles,
so do.
bad
Oh,
dragon. Because I've had my rules guy look it over, and he gave it a thumbs up. Unlike some of the stuff that they do in UA, like Thug. Sorry, Skull. Sorry. That is just too broken for the world. Just too broken for the world. This one thematically for Saltmarsh, Tentacle Warlock is on the table. So just floating that one out there.
Very thematic if Buddy's the one that gives you the D10 cantrip you want, Haxel.
Oh, yeah. That would be awesome.
Oh,
Buddy and Avalon?
Oh, that would be interesting if he was an Aboleth. That would be pretty interesting. But gosh, I don't know. Buddy's definitely something special. He's a special little poppet, apparently.
That you kept saying that. I know it's called a puppet. You're not saying puppet. It's something else, right?
No, a pop. P-O-P-P-I-T.
Yeah.
Pop.
E.T.
Yeah, but
E.T.,
but that's
sorry,
different
yeah.
from a puppet.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
a puppet has a hole in its butt, and you put your hand up it. So, sort of like an unlucky person in prison.
Okay, I just didn't hear that word. I didn't hear that word, and you kept saying it. And I'm like, what is that? What is that word?
puppet.
Yeah, no, a poppet is an endearing, sweet, or pretty child or young girl, or a small figure of a human being used in sorcery and witchcraft.
Oh,
Oh,
Yeah, which could all.
yeah.
Yeah.
I would say by now, because of Toothless's love, that he would certainly function as a poppet, which is to say, he could be used as a spell focus if you wanted to.
Yikes.
No way that
Bard's
could ever
black
go wrong.
tentacles.
All right.
Just toss the puppet and then.
That sounds good.
Yeah.
Excellent.
You may throw this doll at a point you can see within 60 feet.
But yeah, I mean, Spiritual Weapon is one of the best spells in 5th edition, and Tentacle Warlock is basically built around Spiritual Weapon, because that's basically what the tentacle is, just a super spiritual weapon. So I think it's cool. If anybody is interested, that one is on the table. But I just ask because it's a lot more fun to multi-class with a bit of story tossed in than you just like wake up the next day and you're like, oh hey guys, I'm a paladin. It's like, oh,
For sure.
okay.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, we don't have to dedicate like 7 sessions to you multi-classing, but you know, it certainly deserves a little bit more attention sometimes. In Skull's case, Skull is a fighter rogue in a way that sort of creates his own special class. So sometimes it's like if you're a paladin warlock, for example, you might have the same patron for your paladin abilities that you have for your warlock abilities. So you don't really have to explain as much. You're just like, some of the powers I get are this flavor, and some of the powers I get are that flavor, but I serve the same person. But if that character was a warlock to one entity and a paladin to another entity, that would definitely be like noteworthy for storytelling and things like that.
Yeah.
Because it's like,
I
yeah,
could
the,
I could have
these
started just
conflicting
I could have
entities.
just
Yeah.
been a fighter with a criminal background. That's basically what happened. But I decided to go
Right.
rogue first and then fighter. Kind of get those skills that I wanted. But
No, and rogue can be a lot of fun, especially if you have a DM that is willing to work with you as far as like thieves guild contacts, thieves can't, things like that, things that are outside of combat rules. You know what I'm saying?
halfling Gouda cheese. That's what Thieves' Cant is called now.
Uh,
So, yeah, Thagrum.
yeah. I was gonna say, during the downtime, I want to go try to find someone to take a look at the stone.
Oh, okay. Um, yeah, as far as you want someone magical or religious, there is one wizard in town. You guys all know him. He's a total asshole. He is said to be several hundred years old. He showed up one day, cast a spell. His tower magically appeared, and he said, "I live here now." And the people of Saltmarsh were like, "Okay," and that was that. And he is strong enough that his presence deters a lot of attacks and bad behavior. His name is Kelidek. He's a Kalashite human, a giant of a man, stands about 7 feet tall. He wears a bright red set of robes, wears a turban over his bald head.
It's just
Got a
Jafar.
beautiful mustache. He's got a beautiful mustache and beard situation going on. But yeah, he straight up has a parrot familiar. Yeah, it's a little on the nose. It's a little on the nose. But he is also sort of a crime boss for magic. So that is why it can be very difficult to purchase arcane focuses, spell components, things like that. He sort of monitors all that activity, and there's definitely sort of he takes his take, as it were. So there's not a lot of profit to be made in selling those goods. So I mean, I don't have it affect your buying and selling like too much, but it is one of those things that the more stuff you buy, the more interested he becomes in you or your party.
Okay, if I knew all that, then I'll just go to maybe like uh, a temple or something like
Okay,
that.
so
Somebody that's
local
easier to deal with.
temple, your best bet is probably the Temple of Valkyr, which is run by a stoic ass Viking dude. Um, I believe his name is. Let's see if we got it here. What's this guy's name? Welgar. Welgar Brinehanded. And he is a war priest of. Well, he's a Tempest cleric, but he is a war priest of Volkur, and Volkur is captain of the waves. He is an exarch of Tempest. Tempest has a reputation of being kind of a bad boy, like a traditional like frat boy, toxic masculinity frat boy. Um, Volkur is definitely his well-mannered, well-meaning friend who has to constantly apologize for Tempest's like rude and crass behavior. Some people call him Surfer Thor, but he is the god of favorable winds and naval combat and the patron of sailors. So he tries to give people hope in the face of the bitch queen Umberlee's constant presence.
If I think that he'd be helpful, or maybe they could take a look at it for me. Ask him a
Yeah,
couple questions about it.
he is rumored. This is another retired adventurer situation. He is rumored to have been a pretty badass war priest in his day and has settled in Saltmarsh to basically he was assigned this temple when the previous priest died of old age to like take it over. So this is him right here.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Oof.
yeah. He's a rough ass dude. But yeah, he is the highest level to go full meta cleric in the region.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So if
I'd rather go see them if they
definitely
see
something to
like
keep in your back pocket, because if it is rumored that for the right price, which often involves heavy donations to the church and the promise of favors to be named later, he can raise the dead.
Hmm.
Yeah, not animate the dead, but like raise the dead.
But can he
So something.
raise the roof?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, in his day. Oh
Does he
yeah.
let the
I
dogs
mean,
out?
look at him.
Oh yeah, yeah. This guy is pretty intense. This guy's pretty intense. But if you go to him and describe your symptoms, that the stone keeps returning and all that, because have you tried to get rid of the stone more than once at this point?
no, I did try to give it to
Yeah.
Haxel,
Mhm.
and then I woke up and it was back with me, and that seems
Ah, okay. Yeah, yeah.
very
He turns to you and he nods in respect as you enter because you are a fellow clergy of a mostly good deity. Um, and he says, "Da, brother, it is good to see you. What brings you to the house of Valkyr?"
Well, I got the question and I can't figure it out myself. It seems kind of awkward, I guess. I got this here stone, uh, and I tried to give it to a pal of mine, and the damn thing it ended back up in my pocket. I don't
Hmm.
know what to think about it, but it seems kind of fishy to me. I know I gave it to him, and I know I'm not crazy.
This stone is magic.
I believe so.
Hmm. And when you leave it, it finds you.
Yeah, I mean, I gave it right to the fella. I seen him take it.
Give me this stone.
Oh, here you go. And I'm gonna put it in his hand.
All right. He sets it down and he smashes it with his warhammer.
Well, I mean that's all I can do with it, I guess.
Peaceful. Yeah.
When he pulls the hammer away, the stone is not there, and you feel its weight in your pocket.
Oh, hold up a second. Hold up a second.
Do that again.
You just
Ah,
you
this is
remind me of
good
that Blaine
sport.
fella. Oh, Davy Blaine.
All right, he takes your the stone and he smashes it again, and again it is back in your pocket.
Okay,
Mm.
so
How does this stone make you feel?
uh I don't quite have an answer for that, I guess.
I think it would make you feel pretty good. It's a stone of good luck, so probably be.
I
You
mean
have to have attuned to the stone to
I mean
have it treat you this way. So you must know how it makes you feel.
it made me feel kind of lucky. I guess it seemed like I
But
could
have
use
you been
a
lucky?
favor. I don't really know. I mean, I haven't
Here,
been unlucky.
here, come, hit me.
Uh,
Do not stand there like babe with mouth open for breast. Hit me.
then I'm gonna swing on him.
Hit him on the head.
Whoa.
Okay. It seems pretty lucky. He wipes he wipes some blood away from his face. And he says, he's watching you intently. He says, hit me again.
Oh no.
Uh, I'm just gonna kind of stare at my hammer like, okay.
Mm, mm.
Oops.
Okay. So then he says, "Here, catch this," and he throws a hand axe at you. Not even sure where that was, but go ahead and give me a dexterity saving throw. Yeah. So you would have you would have caught it because he told you it was coming. He didn't throw it actually that hard. But you actually have had this whole time a -1 to all your dice rolls.
Hmm.
It is a stone of bad luck.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah. So the hand axe kind of slices your hand as it kind of goes by, and he kind of watches it, and he says, uh, "I think you are accursed."
I'm just gonna start cursing under my breath in Dwarven.
No, not like that, friend. He says in Dwarven. Um, it is foul magic has clung to you. It is no one's fault. Even identify would not reveal this. Only trial and error. The only safe way is abstinence of magic.
Ah, uh-huh.
Mm. But
So,
you are not the type to live in fear, so do not live in fear. It is simple spell to remove. Uh, you will donate to Valkyr, and I will cure you.
I'm gonna like grab out my coin purse and be like, how much are we talking about the donating? I mean,
Well, I am very practical, man. Let's say it is a spell of the third circle. We could always use more coin for helping with Mariner's Guilds and the poor in Crabber's Cove. Uh, would you be okay with 150 gold?
oh,
You
oh,
must understand that this is a curse you will bear until your god grants you the skills to remove it. Unless
oh,
you would seek the help of the evil wizard.
oh,
This is not an extortion, friend. I know that you are good for it, so I feel comfortable asking.
I guess maybe if old Throgum gets some more gold in his coin purse, maybe maybe there's something I can fix for you. Maybe take a little bit off the top, I guess.
I have
Ask him if
heard
he's.
that you are a good craftsman. There is much work that needs doing. Give me 1 day of labor. I will take 50 gold from your donation fund.
Well, that I think that sounds pretty fair. Maybe I could do something like that.
Excellent.
Is there anything the church could ask a Thugrum?
Ah, I'm glad you asked. Have you heard of Kraken Society?
No, I don't believe so.
It's like super cult. Worship
Oh,
Krakens. Bad dudes, as the dwarfs would say. They come to Saltmarsh often, try to establish layer. Um, Dealing with them is common occurrence. Also, there is the Scarlet Brotherhood. Uh, I believe operating in the area. I
mhm.
know that they are somewhere in town in Crabber's Cove. Perhaps you could take care of that for me. I remove curse, you take care of, and that is donation enough.
I'd love to. A Thugrum would much rather take care of, and he's gonna crack his knuckles. Some
Hmm.
things for you.
Ah, that is fine. I would deal with it myself, but my adventuring days are behind me.
Nah, nah. I mean, you got a lot going on here.
I have responsibility to church and flock. It would be disservice for me to go out and die and leave this town in the embrace of the Bitch Queen.
You know what? I'd be happy to help you out. You know, it'd be my honor. I'd really enjoy it.
Hmm. Well, you tell me what you want to do. If you want to remove curse now, I do so. I have spell memorized just for this type of occasion. Often I cast it just to make people feel better.
This is gonna laugh.
As placebo is what alchemists call it.
Yeah, yeah, I heard of that before. Okay, so I guess I could. Yeah, that sounds good. You know,
Okay, so what are
you.
you going for? You're going to help them investigate Crabber's Cove and look for flipping cultists, or are you going to just help around the temple and maybe down at the shipyard kind of thing and drop a less juicy donation in the alms box?
Do I know anything about Crabber's Cove? Like,
It is the slums of Saltmarsh. It is where the poorest, crappiest like way of life can be found. It is
oh,
definitely. I mean, every city, realistically has just that bad part of town.
yeah,
Crabbers Cove is the bad part of town.
yeah. I tell him. You know what? I'll tell you. I'll take care of both. I'll go to old Crabber's Cove and check
Mm.
out the what do you call it? Krakens?
The Kraken Society.
Maybe ask about the Kraken Society and if there's
Ah,
anything you need
you
around
will
here.
be my eyes and ears and beard in the field. This is good. Uh, may the blessings of Valkyr cure you of your impairments. And he casts a spell on you, and you feel the stone grow very hot in your pocket. And then when you look at it, it is the most just basic, normal rock you have ever seen. It is no longer that resplendent, like juicy blood red stone. It just looks like a little charcoal briquette.
Mhm. Yeah, so I'm gonna tell him that I'm gonna do both for him. I'm actually gonna go investigate uh, the Kraken Society, as well as if there's anything they need help with.
Mm.
Uh, in the meantime, I'd be happy to fix it.
Yeah, that is appreciated. Uh, I ask why your Gond has no temple.
Uh, would I know that there's the where the closest one is?
Gosh, probably Waterdeep. Gond has a yeah. Gond is far like his servants travel far and wide to spread the word.
Hmm.
Technology good, singularity, that kind of thing. His the reality of it though is that along the Sword Coast, especially, again, like wizrobes and priests of other religions kind of run the show, and they
Hmm.
definitely don't want Apple stores opening in every town.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that it's very hard for your religion to ever get a temple set up. But the major cities that are super metropolitan, oh
Hmm.
yeah, in Waterdeep there is a Temple of Gone that is just mind blowing. Like
Hmm.
it's got mechanical wonders and clockwork guardians, and it is absolutely incredible.
Yeah, it's kind of hard for Gon to make his way all the way out there. It's not everybody can appreciate a little bit of technology. Mm, I guess
Mm.
technology would be a little much, but
I have heard your people have gone have flying ships. Is this true?
oh, you mean the flying ships and clockwork robots? I mean,
He
You
kind of
Oh
like
my
he kind of
God.
gets like a childish glee on his face, and he like playfully pushes you with his 20 strength score, and he's like, stop telling these stories. Is this true?
No, I swear on me priest, or swear on me God. You should see it. It's the craziest thing.
Hmm.
It's even hard for me to believe sometimes. And I worship the guy.
I saw many wonders in my life, but never flying ship. I saw castle in sky, but never flying ship.
You know,
Would have made castle in sky much easier to get to. Beanstalk, no fun.
I tell you what, if I ever, come across
Give him a ride. We'll give him
a
a
flying
ride.
ship, I give you a ride.
Yeah, when we
I
get our
come
own
find
flagship.
Hmm. All right, he smiles broadly. That is good. May the blessings of Valkyr walk with you and Gond on your journey. All
you.
right.
I,
So I am really glad you got that taken care of because mathing out all of your shit has been a nightmare. I was like, I was almost tempted.
He always rolls
I was
high
almost
too.
tempted.
He
Yeah,
always
and I
rolls
was like,
high.
yeah, I was like, oh, a 37. Okay, I don't have to math that one out. But anytime you were in the ballpark, I had to go and be like, oh, don't forget, he's got a -1. Blah blah blah. Yeah. So, but fortunately, your character's lucky enough that I don't think it's ever, I don't think it's ever cost you anything. But it applies to everything though, even your death saving throws.
ugh.
Yeah. So it's good that you got rid of
It's
it.
really lucky you fixed the ship with that 20 that one time.
Yeah.
Oh my
We had rolled
gosh.
that
Good
20.
point.
Yeah. So yeah, just keep that in mind. A lot of people are under the misconception that an identify spell will tell you if something is cursed. That is not how cursed items work. Cursed items would not be effective if they could be undone by a first level spell. So there is always, always, always that chance that an item is cursed, and you just kind of have to, deal with it. I mean, most parties have a paladin or a cleric in them anyways, so you only have to deal with the curse for a little bit, and then somebody removes it for you. So don't let it terrify you for magic items, but it is something worth mentioning.
So it's just a complete. It's done. It's just a rock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
The remove curse destroyed the magic of that.
Evan,
Item.
smash it now. We'll check.
All
Got
right.
a token of good
So
luck.
on that note, we're a little bit over time. You got a lot done tonight, guys. And you did get your 1200 XP. So it is level up time. Again, if you are interested in going into a multi-class, just let me know because we might do something fun story-wise to work it in there. And yeah, I hope you guys had fun tonight. It's good to have you back in
For sure.
the campaign, as it were. And you have so many options now of things to do. I again, like, just decide what you want to do, and we will do it. So
Yeah, thank you so
Cool.
much, Crush. That last 20 minutes,
Yeah.
Yeah.
that guy
Yeah.
was a treat.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was
Awesome.
amazing.
that was really fun. So thank you.
all right, night, guys.
Good night.
All right.
Good night.
Thanks.
Lit.